Hope your ship is well. That only Jolly Roger has been through hell. Yo ho, on an adventure we go. In the heated digital high seas, we travel with ease until we reach the outer edge and freeze. The Arctic chill like a very speed mill through the darkness led by our will. Yo ho, on an adventure we go to beyond the outer limits of society, broadcasting the reality. The pirates will always steal the show from WPRPN, you know. Yo ho, on an adventure we go. Dock our vessels in the Skullport Harbor. No land lovers will fight for you harder. Your old first mate went AWOL after a drinking guild haul. The legacy of pirate radio is strong. I hope our mates will come along. The changes we seek may not be long. That is why I wrote this song. And we go ho ho, on adventure we go. Welcome everybody, friends, folks, foes, and fellow pirate mateys, to our latest weekly edition of World Pirate Radio News. All the Royal Canadian bacon you could possibly want, and more. So, I myself, it's show episode 322. I should add, obviously. I myself, your host, as always, Robinhood's Chief Communications Officer, Jaffe Ryder. WPRPN.com is the website you'll want to drop by, take a look at. Sign up is free. All you simply need is a username, password, and email. From there, everything should be pretty much straightforward. If you do run into any problems along the way, do not hesitate in getting back to us via our main email, pirate1radio@protonmail.com. That's pirate, the numeral 1 radio at protonmail.com. We'll take whatever steps are necessary in helping to smooth things over, get you sailing off in just the sort of direction you hope to be. Be sure as well to, take note of the email address if you'd like to help us out via PayPal. Always appreciated. It's what keeps us up and running, obviously. Largely public supported live streaming digital phenomenon. So, be kind, folks, and take note of the fact as well that if you have any show suggestions or guest ideas, that email address is extremely handy as well. That's the way to do it, to hit us up and let us know. We'd potentially like to see us bring on board. So check out the show description end of things. Lots of other great links, including our Patreon, of course, where you can connect with us, sign up
for free. We've got online merchandise via galacticfire.com and more, t-shirts, coffee mugs, and the like. So what else are we looking at here? Digital love. Always appreciate a little bit in the way of digital love wherever people who support our work reckon it's something that they like to offer. Liking, commenting, sharing, remembering to hit subscription notification buttons, and passing word along to friends, family, and co-workers. Really critical stuff. Always appreciated. And once again, it's the sort of synergistic support that we really, as with any small independent live streaming show, requires. It's a sort of thing that without which we really fail and flounder. So, having said all of that, it looks like a pretty full house here as far as the round table end of things is concerned. The open house. We had 5 initially. Yvonne Malfont out of Coquitlam, BC, who had connected and talked to us briefly about a open mic gig that he'd been attending. He and I go back some years, musical friends from Seoul, having connected here via South Korea quite some time ago now. But he's headed back to the West, relocated with his wife via British Columbia's Lower Mainland. We have at present Sonia Galactic, Robert Morningstar, Vinny from Brooklyn, and Roger Hansen. Well, Vinny from Brooklyn, obviously, so no question as to his location. Roger Hansen out of West Frankfort, Illinois. Sonia, who's someone who calls Phoenix, Arizona home. And finally, of course, Robert Morningstar, Manhattan, New York, USA. So great to have everyone join us here this week, voting with the computer mice as we always do. That's the way this whole deal works, I guess, obviously. So who'd like to chime in first?
Hey, let me start because I got a big one for you guys. I put in the chat in D Live. There was an interview that Dr. Mike had with Peter Hotez,
right?
Hotez the Killer, and Hotez the Killer actually mentioned my cage match threat to him, which was amazing to me. He didn't mention me by name, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he's scared to do so. But you guys should hear this interview. Okay, it's an hour 39 minutes,
yeah.
and he employs every one of the 17 techniques for truth suppression in this interview. So does Dr. Mike to some degree.
What is it, Dr. Mike? Who exactly? This isn't the Health Ranger.
No. This is it's a guy who calls himself Dr. Mike. I don't know his last name, but he does podcasts all over the place. He's very proud of this debunking misinformation, as he likes to say.
Oh, jeez. Oh, God.
So you can't be debunking misinformation with the biggest disinformation agent on the planet.
That's a bit of a mouthful, a very Orwellian type catchphrase. Today we're setting out to debunk misinformation. Or it's like anytime I hear that sort of thing, it's like red flag.
Warning.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and that Hotez character, just a wet rag. Just a really. Speaking of, we talk here sometimes, people who's got that, pedophile type vibe to them, just creepy. He's a creepy guy, and
Well, I got to tell you, listen, watch the interview, guys. Take some time, if not tomorrow, this weekend. Okay, you can listen to him lie to you, right to your face about, oh, I never pushed people wearing masks, right? When he was all over CNN telling you to wear 2 and 3 bloody masks, this idiot.
that would be
right?
great to see somebody clip what you can from this interview that you're referencing, but I'm not sure how you know top
Well,
notch.
there's a lie told every minute.
We need
Basically.
videos out there. You know how the videos are put out from time to time,
Little
obviously,
clips.
where they
Yeah.
mash up and show I never said that, and then they flip back to like wear a mask, you know, and
Well, see, I've got one of those already
hypocrisy.
on the channel. I've got one of those already on the channel, so
Right.
that's also a story.
And
But
that's on
but
Canst off of BitChute. That's Canst channel that you've got over there. Is that
that
right?
is correct. That is
Children
correct.
are not sex toys, and you can be found over on mine's GMNO. That's your other main place that you
Because they're all
often.
tied together. Yeah, they're all tied together. All
Mhm.
these things are all tied together.
Hey, and why aren't we seeing more of you on Element? Have you dropped by there yet? Have you managed to sign up? And it's kind of like the chat has sort of via Minds has relocated, and it's where people like Roger and Tran, Toronto Tran. He's not a tranny, but I'm not sure what he is exactly. He's a great guy though, and he's a Catholic among other things. But and he likes to. He's got a good sense of humor too. He likes to have fun. You know, as do we all, obviously. So, but while tackling these what are all too often serious topics, Medworthy out of the UK. Who else are we? Who are we? Mr. Robot, Roger. So, yeah. Okay. Well, we'll check that out. Let's your Cats channel then, and encourage everyone to drop by there. And you've got a lot of other great quality content that you publish on a pretty routine basis. So thanks for dropping by.
Thank you.
Vinny, I think during the pre-interview there, I bounced off of you this whole business of how last week there were some gang riots that broke out in Brooklyn. You didn't hear anything about that, is that right?
I had nothing to do with it, unfortunately.
Well, I'm not saying you had anything to do with it, but that you didn't hear it. It wasn't on the news or anything.
It didn't seem to permeate. No.
Okay.
So it must have been
Okay.
people local.
Okay. Off to Roger Hansen looks like he's eager to jump into the conversation here. So have at it, Roger.
Oh, I was just getting back on. I got everything set up. It's simulcasting now on D Live and
Good stuff.
also X. I have it on Rumble Premium as well as on Twitter. And I've got it set up on Twitter to where it won't get in trouble. If anybody wants tips on that to where you don't get in trouble with censorship, go into your Twitch account and make it to where it doesn't save a copy. It's not covered by copyright if it's just straight live.
Are you talking? You're talking Twitch?
Right, Twitch.
It's because they kicked us off of there, and of course it's like terms and conditions, community guidelines. Like, what are you people talking about? This is just arbitrary and random, or it's a targeted thing. This is like over a year ago now. We just said to hell with it. If this is the way that, as with Discord, 2 accounts, totally 86th
Yep.
for I mean it's a little reference that has been in the news as of late that everyone except for who is it, Jim Comey, is that his name, or John Comey, as the former head of the FBI, has no idea what it means. So anyways, but yeah, they completely tanked both those accounts. And Elon, not so free speech Musk, both of our X accounts suspended, and just the list just goes on. We've struggled to. Has anyone else struggled to maintain, like, to fight to keep their accounts in place without issuing a formal, I don't know if you say complaint necessarily. What is the term exactly? An appeal is the way they like to put it, I guess. So But
That's what
You
anyway.
know what
it
it
is.
is, Kathy? I found out one of the tricks they use to keep you shadow banned is to get you to answer the community notes. I stopped doing that.
Over on X.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's a
even
trick.
YouTube.
Community note, right?
Okay.
It's shadow
YouTube.
banned.
hmm
So is YouTube. Same way.
I'll tell you one
Don't
thing
ever
on
take their
X.
surveys.
Oh, no kidding, hey. So stay away from those bloody surveys. That's what you're saying, is that
Yep.
right? How about
Yep.
that? So there's your value-added content, or pretty early, quick out of the gates here, folks. In case you're wondering why it is that you tuned in to this week's edition of World Pirate Radio News, show segment number 320. We'd like mostly to be talking, at least for a time, as we did last week, regarding Western separation, Western alienation, as far as Canada is concerned. But, this week, that and more, of course, within the context of King Charles and recent throne speech. First time since 1977 that the Crown has acted in this formal capacity via Ottawa, and his good friend Mark Carney inviting him. So, it's interesting that.
So what did he say?
Well, I didn't really have time to. You guys can take a look at things. It was nothing. It was pretty fair and balanced, I guess. It wasn't overly heavy-handed, but there were some, I think, some subtle jibes or jabs at a little bit of pushback on part of the king to, as far as Trump and the 51st state annexation sort of 5440 manifest destiny agenda, which really goes back, as you know, Robert, to the was it Andrew Polk era? Is that right? President Polk? When was that exactly? 1854? No, what the hell are we
around
talking?
The 1850s.
But hang on. But okay,
there's-
that's right. Yeah, sure. That's right.
Martin,
Go ahead.
Martin K. Polk,
Oh, Martin Polk? No, you're kidding. That was his first name?
not Andrew.
Wasn't Andrew Polk? Okay, well, anyways,
Andrew Jackson.
Andrew Jackson, sure, yeah.
Martin K. Polk.
Pig and a poke. All right.
I recited the names the other day. I recited the names of every president of the United States since John Hanson.
Oh, John.
You guys don't know about John Hanson?
What was he controversial? Wasn't he a Southerner? Confederate?
No, he was the first president of the Continental Congress.
Oh,
And then the Constitution came along, so
right. So there were. I think it said that there were something like 15 other presidents before Washington. Isn't that the
someday
case?
long. So I want to give you some really great news. Really great news. Today, Robert Kennedy announced that COVID mRNA products have been removed from the CDC schedule.
Thank God. Finally. Can we talk about this on YouTube now without getting shut down?
Oh, man, let me just tell you, F YouTube. If you're worried about YouTube, you don't deserve to be on the air.
I'm saying that facetiously, tongue-in-cheek, because I know they're listening.
I'm saying honestly, they are garbage.
Yeah.
They are censors. Yeah. They are the left. They are
the red shield.
Whoever they are, they suck. Okay.
Well,
I don't contribute anything to YouTube. Alan put our programs, the ones that I recorded this weekend for Memorial Day, on YouTube, but that was not my choice. My choice is Rumble.
Right.
So if they don't like it, they can lump it.
Yeah.
But I want to share this with you. Robert Kennedy announced today the COVID vaccine for healthy children and healthy pregnant women has been removed from the CDC Gov recommended immunization schedule. Bottom line, it's common sense and it's good science. We are now one step closer to realizing President Trump's promise to make America healthy again.
Thank God. Thank God.
Dr. McCary is there and another doctor who's
Well,
escape.
and compared to Korean, the schedule, as they call it, like you have to get immunized for this, that, and the other. In Korea, it's a fraction of what they shoot the kids in America up with. It's a fraction, and so people ask, they often wonder, why is there so little autism here in South Korea? What's the deal
Right.
there? So
I think they were up to 54. I think they were up to 54 required vaccines for children by the age of 5.
And you notice how it's they say this is a vaccine. Take the COVID vaccine. Well, unlike any other so-called vaccines, this is something where you got to keep going back for a booster every few months.
Yeah. Well, Hotez must be flipping out. I mean, he was the biggest pusher.
Yeah. What is his What is his formal position at present? What office essentially or titles does he hold? Yeah.
Tez is, as far as I know, he's just a doctor down in the Texas State Hospital. He's got no position.
He's working in Texas Children's Hospital. Robert, he also says that he has a low cost COVID cure, if you can believe that.
I don't believe anything.
Oh, like ivermectin?
And I said, never trust a guy that wears a bow tie.
Yeah, brother. No, it's not ivermectin. No, he railed against ivermectin. Remember, he called Joe Rogan, right?
Yeah.
They were calling names.
Did he appear on Joe's show or not? I think he did, didn't he?
Yes. That's where he got curb stomped.
But then he was afraid to debate RFK Jr. Is that right?
Well, listen to that podcast. You listen to the myriad excuses that he gives not debating.
Well, I mean,
he's a totally dishonest guy. He's one of those merchants of death. That's why I call him. I don't trust any doctors. Don't go to dentists. Don't go to dentists, folks. They have contaminated every anesthetic in the dentist's office with graphene oxide and all that junk. They're spreading it. Don't go to dentists, folks.
Oh, careful, folks. We are we're working on getting
in the dentist's office.
We're working on. Oh, here we go.
Graphene oxide.
There we go. We had to start live streaming. I don't know why it did automatically. It doesn't usually happen that way over on Telegram here. So we're going to be tackling Facebook in just a moment or two as well. But now you said you can only stick around for a short time here, I guess, Robert.
So 12:30. I have an appointment in Montana.
Oh, and is this something you are able to share with us, or not?
No, it's just a very close friend that we get together. She and I are very close friends, and we share information like we're doing here now.
Okay.
She wants to study this video of Joe Rogan and AI discussing the Book of Enoch, which I'm not inclined to do. I'm really anti. I lost a couple of friends over the last couple of weeks because I told them, don't answer emails that I send you by replying using AI. I said to one of them people are dabbling and playing around with AI and, inputting stuff. And, I write an email about something. This was in particular about a CIA document that I found 15 years ago describing the petrification of a group of Russian soldiers by a UFO that they shot at.
Right. Yes.
Remember that story?
I recently heard about that. In fact, that's right.
Yeah, well, I found it 15 years ago and I put it out, and now it's all over the place. And I pointed out the story. It's a CIA document that is in the Blue Book files. A lot of people don't know that Blue Book is not just Air Force files. It has a whole section on CIA documents that were collected by the CIA around the world, and they were always forwarded to Project Blue Book. So I found the entire Project Blue Book files with the exception of what they call it, report number 13, which is about abductions and mutilations. But Bill Cooper, read it, and a couple of people I know read it and gave me a synopsis. But be that as it may, it's Blue Book is rich with with CIA reports. I remember one in particular. I have to laugh. It happened in Kazakhstan, and the police department looked up at the top of a mountain where there's a big transmission power station, a transmission tower, and they saw a UFO, and they all raced up there in a police car to check it out. And they arrived and they saw the UFO, and the next thing they knew, they were back at the police station sitting around the table in trances, and they didn't remember coming back. Their memories had been erased, and they were in a pretty bad state of psychological trauma. You know, as like Tim Tactic pointed out,
Okay.
getting close to a UFO or an alien is a very dangerous thing to do, because both UFOs and the alien nervous system has deleterious effects on the human nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
For example, when Charles Hall was ushered into a meeting with the tall whites, and they told them, you know, you might not feel well if you get too close, so don't get too close. And then they, in another instance, these Air Force men were told, look, you're going to see an alien, and don't be surprised if you pass out.
Wait a
And
minute.
so
This is Holt out via the Rendlesham incident? He met with tall whites?
no, not Halt. Hall, Hall, Hall.
Oh, okay.
Charles J. Hall, Walking with the Tall Whites
Okay.
on Tubi TV.
Okay.
Which also, you know, that's an amazing film. I recommend it to all of you. TubiTV.com, and it's free. Walking with the Tall Whites. I've seen it about 4 or 5 times. I admire that man so much. I actually consider him a saint. He's a channel too. After exposing myself to his bio and his reports, he actually opened a contact between me and the tall whites. And I got a lesson from the person that he calls the teacher. And the lesson was that if you are going to engage in time travel, you have to be ready to adjust instantly to a radical change in reality. It's short. I'll tell you what happened. Twice I had 2 encounters with the teacher. This is a woman, a female, tall white, who seems to be a big leader of this group on Earth, and a teacher to military people and to contactees. So after experiencing Charles Hall's, I had a remote viewing experience that I was at Columbia University here in Manhattan. It's 116th Street and Broadway. And I was waiting for someone, and out walks this lady. She was tall, she was white. I was not allowed to see her face. I could see that she was dressed in white, like a white corporate attire, I would call it. And I think that's my friend calling.
That's your friend calling.
Hold on. Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
I'll call you back in an hour. Bye. Anyway, that's how I feel. Anyway, she comes out and she greets me, and we start walking down the street, and I'm talking about, you know, my knowledge of UFOs and my interests and my experiences. And we get to 97th Street and Broadway, and here's where the lesson came. We had walked all the way from 116th Street to 97th Street and Broadway, and she said, oh, let's go into that building over there, pointing out to an entrance a couple of feet away from the corner. So I followed her into the lobby of this building, and I walked in, and it was a narrow hallway leading to mailboxes, and we just walked in. I saw the mailboxes, and she says, okay, we can go out now. So we walked out, and when I walked out, I was on 23rd Street and 8th Avenue. And I said, what? I'm going to have to take the subway home. I just took it that way, you know? And that, Vinny knows what I'm talking about. Vinny, if if you walked into a building at Borough Hall and you walked out of the building and you were in Times Square, you know what I'm talking about. You know, there's a distance, the distance involved. But the lesson was, Robert, if you are going to venture into this realm, if you are going to dare to step into a UFO and go for a ride, which is a time machine, you have to be ready for a total change in reality without freaking out that you violated all the laws of space-time.
Is that what you think happened?
What I think what happened is I was teleported. That's a fine word for it. I was teleported from 97th Street and Broadway to 23rd and 8th, so I would have the psychological impact and the realization of what I would have to be able to do as a human being to retain my sanity and not freak out and say, oh, okay, you know, this is what happened. I just took a quick ride in the UFO, and that was a very important lesson. The other lesson I learned is that our souls are guided and led to another planet, what we call heaven, is another dimension, but there is a gigantic planet involved. And in this case, this is the second instance, I was walking along with the tall white teacher, and I was also talking to Dr. Carla Turner, whom I admire immensely. She was a great pioneer. She wrote A Masquerade of Angels, and she said, you know, these are tricks. These guys aren't angels. These are tricky extraterrestrials. They're here to fool us. They're taking what they want. They're exploiting us. Don't trust them.
Why do you think she was killed?
Because she was revealing too much too early. It was really terrible what they did to her. You know, the men in black, you know, people harassing her, picked her up, beat her up, you know, mangled her. And she died much too young. But she's a beautiful, brilliant person, and her soul is still beautiful. And I had a communion with her. And she said to me, I would like you to go and study the last lectures that I gave between 1994 and 1996. So I took that to heart and I reviewed them all. So we do get messages. We can be put in contact. The tall whites are a little more benevolent than the others. And the other, again, I emphasize this movie is important. Walking with the Tall Whites, 2btv.com, and almost no one notices that Charles Hall has 8 and 16 millimeter movies of his life. And in that movie, Robert F. Kennedy Sr. is shown twice visiting Area 51. And he never mentions who it is. But I know Robert Kennedy. I met him face to face. And wow, he just very subtly revealed that Robert Kennedy did make a trip to Area 51. And it dovetails with John Kennedy's desire to know what was going on, just like President Eisenhower, when Area 51 base commander would not own up or reveal what was going on, he sent his chief of staff to Area 51, and he told him, the president says that if you don't brief him and me on everything that's going on here, he's going to call out the U.S. Army from Colorado, and he's going to invade Area 51. And that's how he got the inside scoop on what was going there.
That was Eisenhower.
Eisenhower, yes.
Yeah.
Who actually ultimately signed the Greada Treaty. A huge betrayal of the American people, trading off human beings for technological knowledge and technological advances. But he was coerced into it by the deep state.
What I heard was that initially the option was on the table that they had first met with the Nordics, supposedly. That's how the story goes. Do you know about that?
Yeah, the Nordics warned Eisenhower and other governments not to make any deals with the Greys because they couldn't be trusted, and they broke every treaty that they made with anybody because they don't know the meaning of trust.
Where do you
They didn't
think?
know
How
that-
do you think the world would be in a different state had Eisenhower signed a treaty with the Nordics?
I suspect it would be a little better, but he didn't, and he went with signing the treaty with the Greys. But the military has this arrangement with the Tall Whites, so we have several treaties with several of these alien races. We found out the U.S. Office of Naval Intelligence found out in 1941 that Hitler had a pact with the reptilians, and that's when we had a contact with the Nordics, whom sometimes they call them Pleiadians. But if you read the book Selected by Extraterrestrials by William Mills Tompkins, you'll get the story. And that's where the U.S. Found out that the aliens, the reptilians, and the Nazis were working on a master race program, and the master race was to mix the reptilians with the Aryans. And that explained to me, after 55 years of wondering, what the hell was Hitler talking about and boasting about, creating a new race that he described as a blonde beast?
The new man.
Well, yeah, the Superman. The Superman was going to be a blonde beast. And at 15, I was reading Rise and Fall of the Third Reich, and I came across that statement, and I found it in other books. I go, what the hell is this guy talking about? Who would boast about creating a race that you would call a blonde beast? And then
Nietzsche.
Yeah, Nietzsche was one of those. I think Nietzsche was a really sad soul, man.
But the Nazis also took his philosophy, and it was not Nietzsche that the Nazis espoused. Nietzsche was not a group kind of guy. He was not into herd mentality or groupthink at all.
He was a miserable human being. He was the ultimate misogynist. He hated women. And the book, I think the book he wrote that influenced Hitler and the Nazis more than any other book he wrote was Antichrist, the Antichrist.
Oh, yeah.
Which nobody talks about. Nobody talks about it. But people pick it up, and it alters people's awareness. The other book is So sprach Zarathustra.
Right.
So spoke Zarathustra.
Elvis's opening theme to many of his 19 shows that he performed in the 1970s.
Yeah, well, it was the opening theme to 2001: A Space Odyssey, and the closing theme to it as well.
We got you for 15 more minutes here, maybe, Robert.
I'll just turn it over back to you. I just gave you the important news.
I wanted to ask you about Russia before you have to go. I'm just saying we got 15 minutes on the Teams before they crash the call and we have to reboot. Russia, Putin, and do you know that NATO, apparently, I just found out today, this is true, I think it was redacted, we're talking about this, NATO, that they unleashed a swarm of drones on Putin.
Yeah, they tried to assassinate him a couple of days ago.
But first, what he did, he targeted the Ukraine. He started, after he talked with Trump on the phone, if I get the timeline, the events on the timeline in order, he talked with Trump. Then, for some reason, he attacked the Ukraine, and supposedly, unless it was an inside job, which I have not heard Putin disavow, saying that it wasn't us, but that he attacked the Ukraine, and then when he was flying back out of the Kursk region, that he got attacked.
Yeah, that's such an important historical site. Very significant, and there's a reason, I guess, the Ukrainians picked up. Kursk was the site of the greatest tank battle in the history of the world.
Also the name of a famous submarine.
That blew up.
Right? Yes, that's right.
That's the one that the torpedo exploded and took down the ship with the entire crew. But I think there was a historical significance to Kursk, and I think that Zelensky was hoping to exploit it with a victory there, but he's just been pushed back. And now that he tried to assassinate Putin, I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the crosshairs now.
There have been attempts on Zelensky's life as well over the past.
But not from Putin and the Russians.
Right, and not to that degree either, right? You know, they're not blowing up.
Has it been his own people? Who's been trying to kill Zelensky?
A lot of people hate Zelensky.
They've all been in the crosshairs. Putin, Zelensky, Trump. It's like, holy shit. Who would want a job like that? I mean, come on.
Yeah, living
Crazy.
in a goldfish, I call it.
Yeah, they got some big cojones, but yeah.
That's the problem with the lust for power, you know?
Well,
power corrupts, and
Shakespeare.
absolute power corrupts, absolutely.
Yeah. So is there anything more than that you'd like to share with us? We got about 10 minutes approximately here before.
Yeah, I just put out a new article, a free article. I published it before to the paid section of the Morningstar Report, robertmorningstar.substack.com. I'll put the link in, and it deals with President Trump came out quite months ago saying that it was a Chinese lab leak. And that's why he said, they said to him, your tariffs are making China suffer. And he said, they deserve it. They deserve it.
Do you know that? And guess, speaking of China and lab leaks, and COVID-20, guess who's living in China now?
I don't know yet.
Charles, Chucky
Lieber?
and Dr. Evil Lieber.
Oh, isn't that something, huh?
They recruited him. Like he because how can he be extradited or
they don't extradite.
Face rendition?
I didn't know.
Yeah, he's working. Yeah. And here comes COVID-20, just as he's managed to settle in over there. So, is that
that
coincidence?
We all talk about Fauci, but Ralph Barrick is another one, and Charles Lieber is another one, and then there's a bunch of Canadians. Andrew Curry was my co-host. Andrew.
Sure.
Vancouver, Canadian.
North
and in 2020, we discovered, as I told you, we mentioned last night, God moves the mouse, I just click it. We were talking about the prevalence of Chinese troops in Vancouver and operating on Prince Rupert Island.
Prince Rupert.
I called it Rupert Island. He said Prince Rupert Island, and I said, "Oh, excuse me."
Andrew Curry or me?
Andrew corrected me.
Yeah.
It's Prince Rupert Island.
Well, we're Canadians, so we can help you out a little.
I know. Thanks a lot.
There you
go.
Anyway,
another friend of mine from that area named Peter, he was driving down a road and he saw all of these Chinese people in fatigues, and he took pictures of them. He sent them to me, so we were discussing that.
That was Salt Spring. That was probably Salt Spring Island where I saw those pictures. There were women too. Were they women?
Yeah, they were women. And then the cover story was that they were Chinese executives who had signed up for seminars, retreats and experience military training and all of that, which we both believe was hokum. But while we were discussing that story, I was surfing and searching through Gmail, through Google, and I saw this thing, BSR 4 facility in Winnipeg fires 2 Chinese microbiologists and 8 of their students, and we removed them from the facility, took away their rights to access the laboratories, and sent them home.
Level 4. Level 4 is what it sounds like.
BSL, right? Biological safety level 4, BSL 4, and the only one in Canada. And they were doing gain of function work there. They were taking Canadian research, and they were shoveling it off to China, just like Lieber was.
Yep.
In Harvard. And they caught one of his students trying to get out of the country. They caught him at the airport.
Two.
Where
I think there were
one
two.
Maybe got away.
Okay, that's right. That's right. And God only knows how many others there were. And there were these vials of biochemical, as you say, gain of function, military weapons grade material that they caught them red-handed with. Trump's FBI were the ones who took care of that. And then Biden, when he got into office, he let him go.
Yep. They gave him a slap in the wrist, but he got smart. If he went to China, he knows what's coming. If you read this article that I'm going to put into the chat, you'll see Fauci is in the crosshairs. Governor Cuomo is being investigated. Cuomo's running for mayor of New York. Yeah, Vinny, do you think he has a chance?
Adult women and grandmothers and grandfathers.
Oh, he killed all those people, man. He just was such an idiot. And then on top of that, President Trump sent the ship.
The Mercy ship?
The Mercy ship, yeah. And he didn't send a single person to
on board
reside or be treated.
What?
It's still empty the entire time. Yes.
Oh, are you kidding? What?
Yeah.
Why?
The Navy was saying, what the hell's going on with this guy? Here we are ready to treat people, and he's not sending anybody.
Maybe it just proves there's nobody sick.
Or they want more people to die. But
that's right. Cuomo, yeah, that's right.
I asked Vinny, do you think he has a chance to win mayor in New York?
Depends how rigged the system is, I guess.
Oh, I'm voting for Adams. Adams is running as an independent.
Who's Adams? Scott Adams?
No. The current mayor of
the Black Freemason guy.
Yeah.
I see.
He was a good cop. He was a Republican. To run for mayor, he changed to Democrat. He ran. And what was his crime? What did he do? Vinny, do you remember what he did that brought the charges down on him for corruption, for accepting an upgrade on a Turkish airliner?
Oh, think he sided with Trump, or he did something
he sided with Trump on something. Yeah,
just went against the grain.
Excuse me, what was it? Immigration, immigration policy. That's what I think it was.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
He saw the chaos.
Too much, yeah.
Being created, and he said, "Listen, we can't tolerate. The city can't handle it." And then Trump said, he's probably going to be indicted for something. And look, lo and behold, 2 weeks later, he was.
How's he doing now? Has he managed to get beyond that, or is
that? He got a pardon from President Trump.
Oh, I see. All right. Well,
because it was the Biden administration, it was the Biden DOJ that brought the charges against him.
The lawfare. Well, and it's coming right back at them now, as one would expect, because what else would you think would happen? I mean, if you're going to actively attack in an unprecedented way, as what we saw in the past number of years, people that your political opponents or enemies that aggressively, then I mean the gloves are off. Clearly, it's not good, is it? So it's.
Did you hear President Trump's statement on Memorial Day?
No.
I'll just give you the first sentence. I want to wish all Americans a happy Memorial Day, including the scum.
Oh, did he really say that?
He did say that, including the scum who have tried to destroy this country for the last 4 years.
Wow. Incredible.
I know. It's coming down.
Do you know his popularity, his approval ratings supposedly are the highest that they've been ever. It's historic, is it not? Highest ever?
Yeah, I just read an article in Town Hall this morning.
Why is that? What's he doing right?
What's he doing right? Whatever he's doing is he has swayed young people, black people and women to side with him, and the numbers, the approval rating keeps going up, no matter what the media tries to
Right.
spin.
Yeah. Well, even CNN recently had to admit that his approval was on an upward trajectory. And I'll tell you what, after the whole, just the shit show that was, the corona apocalypse, that with what you drew to our attention here, what has recently been announced, courtesy of RFK Jr. and Health and Health and
Human Services,
Health
HHS.
Human Services,
Yes.
that they've taken, just to be clear now, that it's been redacted that the mandating of COVID shots for Americans, and then is it youth in particular or all Americans, has been removed. Like, it's not a political priority anymore, and it's like Trump, like he started out from the get-go. If you want to take the shots, that's up to you. If these are something that you don't feel confident with, you're not convinced of, then that's, you don't have to, but it's your choice, which is what it should have been the whole time anyways. And I could see right off the bat, as I'm sure many did, that with Biden getting to power, you could see exactly the way they had it all set to play out, and we had to endure that.
Well, Jeffy, they're trying to disappear that they mandated all that crap.
Right. Oh, I know. Trudeau's doing.
No, Cuomo didn't. Cuomo had mandated the lockdown, but he didn't mandate the shots.
Right.
And that's his saving grace at the moment.
We're
not gonna see from the rope, though. I'll tell you.
Vinny and I remember Cuomo, Governor Cuomo, and his idiot brother goofing on people. Who taking ivermectin.
Patrick Bet-David, his goofiest brother.
Big toothbrush that he was shoving up his nose and goofing around. Those things are unforgivable.
Yeah.
So I won't vote for him in any way, but he's pushing it, and I don't think it's gonna wash. I hope it doesn't.
Call's gonna end here in a few seconds, folks. So we'll be back. I guess it's time we can cut away to commercial break. I'm not sure if Robert will return or not. Thank you, Robert. We'll get your
You're
contact.
welcome. Nice to see you all, folks. I'm sorry I have to be so short, but I hope.
There we go. We will add his contact information to the show description end of things once we get everything archived here. Surveillance, along with I'm Not Here, I believe, is one of the people in addition to Sandy Galactic. Vinny, of course, chiming in. A lot of people lurking around, but not signing in. So, we're almost got a dozen people altogether, but only a handful signed in. Be sure, folks, to check out either, Facebook, YouTube, Telegram, or D Live. Those are you can't sign in over on homenetwork.tv. You can check out our live stream. We appreciate the support that they provide us via homenetwork.tv. But as far as chat and peanut gallery engagement here, these other platforms are the way to do it. I'm Not Here saying UFO is demonic. And, he probably has a point there. It's something that's, angels and demons. So I think there's many, many forms, many types of demons, frankly, of all various sorts and configurations. You think of how vast the universe is, with just endless. I think it seems not only billions but trillions of galaxies, folks. Truth be told, we're kind of looking out from an inward perspective. Very is the term parochial, very, very ignorant. Humans, we are very ignorant creatures, and when you take into consideration light, frequency, and just general perceptual spectrums, whether it's auditory, the hearing, visual, taste, touch, smell. Look at how great dogs pick up on things through their noses as compared to most humans, similar to the way that their hearing ability. So it's, and once I think we realize that, we come to see that that's just one way of understanding that there's so much more within the context and framework, this great cosmic framework of time and space. So Surveillance had I think a comment or two here as well. Nazi working with aliens, just wow. The Vril Society and Black Sun. Yeah, something along those lines. Surveillance, that's correct. Yes, indeed. So, surveillance. That's surveillance. So, oh, geez, we should click on that merch as well, should we, in the merch link. But you can see it's a pretty active back and forth. Do Sonia and Surveillance have something going on here in the way that we see these two, this cute couple here with their Santa caps? It's not even Christmas time yet. So, anyways, that's why I use this name. I like playing with words, says Surveillance, or Surveillance if you prefer. But half the people get it, the rest I have to explain. Alrighty. Well, let's call the group back up. I think we'll have another hour or so at least, and take it from there. Who answers this go around is anyone's guess, but hopefully, if Robert and Sonia and Vinny respond, we'll have more of a chance to hear from them. Obviously, this go round. So let's see. We'll get the audio going here, and yeah, Vinny. Hey, great.
Hey there.
Got you back. Not sure who else is going to respond once again, but did you get a chance to check out the talking points that we supplied?
Phil Robinson passed. Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, did you follow that so-called reality TV series? I know it was quite popular, Duck Dynasty.
I've seen it, but I didn't follow it. No, I know of it.
Yeah.
Phil Robinson was a friend of the Coach Dave show also.
He was, Coach Dave.
Yeah.
Did he have him on? Did Coach Dave have him on from time to time?
He did have him on. He had him on one episode. Yeah. I think I even have him.
Do you know what he died from supposedly?
I don't.
Alzheimer's.
Reversible.
Well,
no, it's reversible. It's from nicotine.
Oh, really? Oh, we use nicotine to reverse it.
Nicotine's one of the things. Yeah.
No kidding, eh?
They've been lying about cigarettes all this time. They poison cigarettes. That's what they do. Nicotine's a healing drug.
Right. Yeah, I can believe that. I can believe that. You got a great point there. I've been hearing that time more and more, and the fact is, like I've even a dummy such as myself, it's become evident that the big, so they call them tobacco manufacturers and offering tobacco products, but they spray so much and they add so much in the way of additives and chemicals. It's a toxic heap of
tobacco
poison. Terrible.
Yes.
So what more can you tell us then of tobacco? And it's like organic, Chairman Mao apparently used to grow his own tobacco.
Well, just think the Indians were famous for what? Smoking the peace pipe, right? And what was in the peace pipe? It was mostly tobacco.
Any weed?
Probably some ancient version of cannabis that they had at the time, but mostly tobacco.
Right.
As far as I know.
Sure. Yeah.
So we wouldn't be calling the Indians wise if that were bad for you, for instance. And Dr. Brian Arias has actually just proved that nicotine is a healing drug. It's one of his big things.
Okay. Well, he's gone now. I guess it's this age of not quite 80. Not quite 80. Roger Hansen. Have you had a chance to check out the talking points? Do you have any other comments or issues that are on your mind this week, or as far as what mostly Robert had to unpack? Was there anything that you feel that we should maybe follow up on, further flesh out, and expand upon? Welcome back,
I
Sonia.
mean, most of that is really just for me like Trump support stuff, like propaganda, and because he goes both directions, so I just try to stay out of it.
You mean Trump? Trump does,
Well, I
or
mean,
Robert?
like the stuff that's always being put out, it's always got to be like Trump is doing this great stuff, or these guys are doing this great stuff, and I try to stay away from that
Oh yeah.
as
Well,
much.
but you are right. Like, it's interesting because any pragmatic, shrewd politician, you will, they say, oh, they're left wing, oh, they're right wing. It's like you'll kind of, you know, manage to have your finger on the pulse. And as an example, that clearly the like with what RFK Jr. has been so actively pursuing, it's a major win for society as a whole, not the big pharmaceutical interests, of course, but the general. And maybe this is what is known as populism, perhaps. Like, oh, God forbid populism. It's like people can be pretty stupid, but once you've been abused and poisoned, and the whole system has been weaponized enough that if they haven't killed you, maybe what one of the things they've done is help to make you stronger and
Which
more.
is what they did.
Yeah.
Yes, they
Oh,
did.
well, and people are pissed off. There's no doubt about that, and for good reason. With what all that transpired throughout the course of the scamdemic. So Sonia, we didn't hear too much from you, and we'd like to do so, of course. Did you have a chance to check out the talking points? Are you and Surveillance? I mean, what a great name! Striking up a bit of do we see Cupid firing a few arrows, back and forth, internet from. You're kind of those sort of the gingers. Actually, you know what? Dave Mustaine from Megadeth and Metallica. I was just watching the interview. Um, I was really intrigued actually, and got drawn in. I haven't listened to closely to him in the past, where he's appeared on places like Joe Rogan. But speaking of gingers, because as we all know, Surveillance has got that sort of thing going on as far as what God has graced him with. So, but Mustaine, yeah, I would like to check out more of his story. It's really quite something, the way
He's actually pretty good.
he's straightened out, hasn't he? He's gone through a lot in his life. Hey, Sonia, turn down your speakers, would you? The kind of, we're getting the audio feedback kind of monitor loop thing going on there. Yeah. So
Well, he's one of the original members of Metallica, right?
that's what we just tried to.
Like,
He wrote all the best tunes. He wrote all the best songs.
Such as.
Ride the Lightning. Ride the Lightning.
Why did they kick him out? Why was he kicked out?
Well, because he had a drinking problem. Like the whole story behind the name Metallica is Hetfield loved the color black, and Dave Mustaine loved vodka, so they turned around and combined the name metallic with vodka and came up with Metallica.
Run that by me one more time. You're talking about their love and affinity for booze brands.
No, that was Mustaine. Mustaine loved vodka.
Yeah.
He was a booze hound.
Yeah.
And Hetfield loved black. He wanted to always have black on. If you ever notice when they're in
the
concert,
color black.
Yeah.
Right.
So they turned around and made the name Metallic and the name vodka merge. So it's Metallica.
Why not? It should have been something more like Vodka Cash.
Well, I mean, you got to understand these are rock stars that are
So
probably
was Johnny
drunk
Cash.
when they
He was in Man in
when
Black.
they were probably drunk or high when they came up with the name though.
Vadi Cash. Vadi Cash.
It could have been worse. It could have not been Metallica.
And then I was thinking Megadeth. Like where I was just thinking about it today.
Cool.
So where Mega, because it's got to be big. It can't,
They
you know, it
did
can't be
that
like
because
Mousy
Dave wanted it to sound more heavier than Metallica.
Oh, now had he cleaned his act up by that point or not?
Probably not when they first started, but shortly thereafter.
Now,
I mean,
Yeah.
he's still
he's making album after album. He still makes music.
No, but he also does imbibe, but only to the point of 1 or 2 drinks at the most, and he knows his cutoff limit. Is that right?
No, I don't think so. He goes to NA all the time, like meetings.
Well,
he still goes to those.
Okay, we'll get clear on things here.
I don't think so, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, yeah, because the way
right.
that he phrased what he kind of, this is on, oh God, what's that big show that they do? They got this big setup, you know, these really, you can tell there's a lot of money that's gone into putting the studios together, and they've got the location they can attract in, like, not as real live time, but in person, these people and celebrity personalities. It's Paul Ryan. Is it Paul Ryan or Sean Ryan? It's a good show. I should pay closer attention to these things, obviously, but they just kind of sit back. He sits in kind of like these armchairs, kind of facing each other, and like a big.
I think I've seen it on Odyssey. I think it is Sean Ryan. I think that's
Sean Ryan. Yeah. So it's a good. He covers lots of ufology sort of issues, like military vets that they've got on there that have done some pretty badass things, and a lot of it has to do with people going through their lives and making mistakes, and then, you know, coming out, through it all alive, obviously, and just having seen the light, as it were, and with the whole process making them a stronger person. So, one thing I hope Mustaine can hear about at some point are NDEs. In fact, the whole world should hear more about NDEs, near-death experiences, because Mustaine was he disavowed the whole Jehovah's Witness thing, right? And then got into witchcraft, was what he was talking about. And I'm not sure where it went from there exactly, but it actually, hey, check this out. Did you hear about the demonic encounter that he had? I've yet to get to that part. They kind of teased us in the preview, but wow, it was like, it sounds like there was he even talked about like how people mess around with Ouija boards, and there's some weird things that are alleged to take place from time to time. Sonia, your speakers, when you're not talking, be sure to mute yourself out, or just generally, if you can, turn your monitor volume down, because it sort of bleeds.
Headphones.
Yeah, that would fix everything, obviously.
Those damn rebels.
But anyway, so this demonic thing, and I don't know, I got to go back. I'm really kind of keen on checking out. He seems like I like his vibe, the way that because he was badass. School of Hard Knocks, basically, School of Hard Knocks, but he seems all right now. He's,
he was the brains behind Metallica. You got to understand that. Like, he might have been a badass and a rebel and everything, but the dude had the brains. And if you listen to his music, he's always been into UFOs.
Oh, really?
He actually made two songs about it. That concerns UFOs and conspiracy.
Yeah, there was
about 2 or 3, maybe.
Man, I can't remember the name of it.
Save Our Ostriches. I think that's
Killing's my money, or money. What is it? Killing is my business, and business is good.
That's the album cover I have tattooed on my thigh. Killing is my business.
What about the line "Peace sells, but who's buying"?
That's another one. That's it.
That's his
You're-
song.
I'll
Yeah.
tell you what,
Yeah.
because I stole one of those lines and incorporated it into this tune that I wrote called "Hemp for Victory."
Peace
So,
Incorporated.
what?
That's what his he's got another one I think called Peace Incorporated.
Uh-huh.
And that's what he talks about, where how people try to sell peace, but the truth of the matter is it's still violence. You know how you hear these bullshit assholes talking about peace through freaking control or power, where
Peace
they
through
think they have to
strength?
peace through strength. Yeah, so I'm gonna make freaking as many nuclear bombs as I can and guns that can kill freaking the entire population, so that I can show you I'm stronger than you and you're
look.
forced into peace.
Yeah, here's the thing. I'll push back on that because listen, we have to accept. I think, I accept, and I think more people should learn to accept and understand the fact that we live in a brutal, violent world that is armed to the teeth with,
Yeah.
from the military standpoint, and that you need to have deterrence,
Yeah, but who's making the money? Who's making the money, dude?
Well, but
Yeah.
hang on.
Wake
okay.
up. Well, you know, I mean, it's
But
not.
let me
It's
finish.
not, it's
Let
not
me
arms to do
let me
this.
finish. You think I'm I'm
Okay.
not some military, promoter of the military industrial complex. What I'm saying, if I can finish my point, is that
Sorry.
you need counter. I'm not sure the exact term escapes you now, but equal deterrence. You don't like look what happened in Korea here back 1950, and one of the reasons there was that war was there was a vacuum, a power vacuum, and the imbalance. So what you need anytime that one group or one nation, one people goes to war, one tribe. Frankie from was it Frank Hollywood? Frankie goes to Hollywood. Frankie goes to war. Just relax. Just
Relax.
just do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah, but do you understand? Like you're not going to go. Most people are not used. They're not usually going to go to war unless they know. It's like, by God, how can we lose? Like let's go and kick ass, take names, and everything else, claim all the booty we can. But they need to have the sufficient enough strength, or at least perceived sense of dominance, and then to get them to the point where they're going to attack and make wars. But so what you need are counter deterrence, basically. I'm not using the right term. I think you get what I'm saying though? Like
I know what you're saying.
well, then say it, then paraphrase and say it in a better way if you could, because I'm not really able to communicate as clearly as I'd like to.
Hey Jeffy, how about this? Do you know in Australia that they're now banning machetes because of a recent attack that they had? They're banning machetes. They're not banning the bad behavior that caused the attack. Now that sounds kind of stupid to me, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem. We get focused on the wrong thing, right? And then it all goes belly up.
It's kind of like what I was saying. Like when you turn around and you say what you just said, that makes perfect sense. Okay, but the thing of it is that's not the way it works out. There's people who are making big freaking money off this stuff, and they're using that. They're using that as a slogan so that they can sell military grade artillery to freaking third world countries.
Yeah, but are you going to want to live in a world or a country where you are not sufficiently you suffer from a lack of defense?
Well, that's
and
not
you leave
what
yourself
I'm
wide open
about.
to attack.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Well, that's what I'm talking about,
want to
because you
defend
need,
yourself.
it doesn't matter. That here's one thing that I'll say, that which kind of dovetails with what you're trying to communicate, that is really something people need to be thinking more about. The contractors and the graft and the corruption, where you've got like parts that are part of the military industrial complex. You have like little parts and pieces and fixtures like that, like a toilet seat that sells for $1,000. It's $1,000 for that toilet seat, and just that's just an example, so on and so forth, right? So or a
Yeah.
wrench for 10 grand. Oh, why 10 grand? Oh, I mean, hey, why not? You know,
You know why.
yes.
You know exactly why.
Well,
dude.
because they
Everybody
can
does.
get away with it. They can get away with
Yeah.
it. And look at what Biden did recently. Speaking of frivolous spending, or just outright corruption. Was it 83 billion now that he's been accused of having 83 billion of just like, oh, okay, we lost the election. Shit, 83 billion. Let's just let's open the floodgates here. And
remember, Jaffe, the last official act of any corrupt government is to loot the nation. That's what they did. 76 days, $93 billion, I believe the number was.
So what happened in Iran?
83, but what the hell? What, you mean Afghanistan with all the
Iran. Whenever the puppet government that the United States sponsored freaking fell to the rebels, freaking not the Ayatollah, the other one,
the
the
Shah
one before him, the Shah freaking
right
took all the money, dude, and freaking fled the country.
And then died of cancer within a year or two. Is that right?
Yeah.
Where did that money go?
I don't think anybody knows.
Panama Papers, anyone? Or about the Tehran Papers? So, and all, Putin, all these characters, they've got so much in these offshore accounts, shell companies, and we're not talking Shell oil necessarily either, but just, it's incredible, just the level of psychopathy. It's called kleptocracy, actually, is one of the ways of describing things, which is a rule by thieves, essentially. So kleptocracy. But and what Canada, because we got to bring this back to Canada briefly and then cut away to commercial break. But with Charles in Ottawa, and I like to see and listen to the throne speech and maybe some of the key points as well. Like, okay, what's being said. Maybe one or two of you could do this while we live stream, of course. But there are a few key takeaways. Points that were made and themes that, were present throughout the speech. It wasn't all that hard hitting, more just in a sense, I think, of reassurance to anyone that supports the monarchy or believes that we should still have the British Crown representing us and our interests at this point in time. I've gotten to the stage where I just really think it's almost like time for manifest destiny to unfold. That maybe Polk and others that shared this 54-40 or fight 54. I think that had to do with the latitude, of where the border was drawn. That it's Western separation. And that peace, order, and good government. That in America, it's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Although some say pursuit of private property, which is totally counter to the whole end goal as far as communism is concerned, which is, in a nutshell, the abolishment of all private property. You will own nothing and be happy, as this past week's feature guest, Nick from Hayes Reviews, reminded us. Go ahead, Vinny.
Oh yeah. So I saw in your notes that you mentioned Peter McCullough.
And, my God, 75% of all COVID deaths, the people coming into the hospital, that they've determined now they died from having taken the kill shots.
Imagine that, huh? And we only talked about it 5 years ago, right?
We were warning people. We're saying, so who's on the right side of history here, us or YouTube, and the big the techno kraken?
YouTube's never on the right side.
Right.
What's that?
Listen, they owe you a big apology for censoring you all this time.
Yeah, you think maybe we can be monetized once, be able to qualify for monetization.
You're just wishing.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, and that's why we'll remind listeners.
Dreamer.
Yeah, So we need more ninja guineas over on D Live, I guess. Roger, hint, hint. Right?
The
Yes.
Ninja Guineas.
Yeah, we picked up one of those. We only picked up one, as far as I am aware, to this point. And do keep a lookout over there, Sonic, because we can't see. We're blind even to the
Yeah.
what's developments, the way things unfold over on D Live, just the way the setup operates here. We get your comments once again, but we just that when it comes to people dropping us digital love, nothing registers. So yeah, the super chat, $5, super chat, $10, 20. We get sweet piss all because YouTube demonetized us. Right, we worked our asses off just to get to 1,000 subscribers, and once we reach that threshold, just it's like, so we're sorry, but just I guess we'll let you continue to produce your substandard content, but we're definitely not going to let you qualify for any. Instead we'll collect all the revenue that comes our way, thanks to what you produce and offer. And isn't it something? This is another thing. There's so much that we could gripe about or pisses me off, and I'm sure many others, but when like a show such as ours wraps up, it can be any live stream, some independent underground live streamer, it immediately goes to CNN or off to MSNBC. It's redirected to some big, like, Mockingbird media establishment channel, as an example. That's what I've noticed. And as nobody else had this experience. And by the way, Vinny, you've got your hand up there for a reason. What's going on, my friend?
Oh, I had my hand up there to talk about that Peter McCullough thing.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Let's hear it from you then.
No. It was incredible to see, right? Because that came right after I found that Peter Hotez piece, right? And this is a perfect answer.
Oh my God! The House of Cards is crumbling in a big way, and because this in conjunction with what RFK and health and services. What the fuck? I got Yankee Doodle Dandy. What HSS health and social
Health and Homeland Services? Yeah.
What does it stand for?
Health and Homeland Services.
Oh, it's HHS.
Yes.
Health and Homeland Services. Is that right?
Right. And
do you know he has a big role to play as far as the illegal immigration is concerned, Kennedy. A lot of people might not be aware of that, but it's a big department.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. It's like Health and Homeland Services, ka-ching, so that's a big deal.
And he was sticking his nose in his business instead of listening to me, right? And so in other words, like, he's supposed to be caged, right? He shouldn't have anything to do with this aspect of things, right? You can deal with it from this aspect where you're completely useless, right? And be satisfied with that. It's just ridiculous. It's someone telling you to your face that.
You're talking about Hotez?
Yeah.
What, as far as what is concerned?
The whole aspect of the COVIDiocracies, I like to call it.
Take the experimental kill shots. He was out there pimping and promoting. You got to wonder what kind of kickbacks these people are picking up, how they're cashing in.
Well,
they're all on the take.
I know that all the kickbacks have been curb stomped, right? Because of Trump crushing U.S. aid and proving that it's been nothing but U.S. destruction this entire time, right? It's a name that they picked out ironically to mock us in our face as they spend our money against us,
Yeah, but wait a minute. All the work that Doge did, cleaning up and auditing, exposing, the USAID racket, that how did that all get redirected or redistributed? It's like it's all been completely nullified, because how the hell they've done something really big, and it's the optics are not great. Jimmy,
the simplest thing there was, Jeff. They made people follow the money. right? Because remember, they're big sums of money, right? They're all being bandied around. Now, they were all being done under cover of darkness before. Now they're all out in the open. All the trails of money are all out in the open, and all the money is all in the wrong places.
Do you know about the homelessness grift? That there's some. Did you see it? I don't know if you know her name or not. Jimmy Dore covered this once again. They got some. I don't know. This big, she looks like a slightly obese black lady with the pearl necklace. I'm not talking the type that you find, in like a more kind of hot and heavy bedroom context around her neck. It's the biggest pearl necklace I've ever seen in my life. Well, actually, now they come to think of it, not really. I've seen bigger, Yeah. But she wore a pearl necklace. Didn't know what that meant until I was in his band back in the day. And the guy that was leading the charge, essentially, older dude, rocker, tatted up rocker, dude, hardcore kind of character. He's like, let myself and the rest of the bandmates in on what a pearl necklace was. We were only 17 at the time, pretty young. So
that must be a real kick, wasn't it? Yeah.
What's that?
That must have been a real kick, right? Yeah. Thanks, guy.
Well, it's like ZZ. No. This is my friend's older brother. So it was no big deal. It's like this guy talk. It was a bit. I didn't know. It's a slang.
Probably an eye opener from hell.
Right.
A lot of no, man. It was fine.
You know what pearl necklaces really is? That's a code word, man.
Yeah, it's for jizz around a woman's neck.
No, dude, it's anal beads.
I've never heard that one.
Yes, anal beads.
Well, you would, I guess, you would obviously you know more about that than me. So why is that, Roger?
You know that's what they do, right? They take these
ZZ Top
necklaces. That's what they're talking about.
She wore a pearl necklace. It's talking about the way it would jizz around a woman's neck when you.
At the most.
You're like a facial.
Trust me, that's.
You could do that too if you wanted. I guess sure you could get as freaky as you wanted. I suppose. It's all consensual. It's all consent. You're adults. All consensual. You get your freak on.
AC/DC was probably the most sexual band I can think of back in.
You talk because of the name AC/DC?
No, man, they were freaking nuts, man.
They're tunes.
Like what? Like that? Like a whole lot of Rosie.
Like
Shook Me All Night Long.
Yeah,
rock
kind of thing.
Well, I know they're a pretty ribald band, that's for sure.
I don't like AC/DC myself.
Yeah.
No,
ZZ Top is pretty sexual.
I like
too,
ZZ Top too. I like both those bands.
What
do you got against AC/DC, Sonia?
They're just too demonic and stuff for me.
Highway to Hell. Yeah, that's one song I can't do. Highway to Hell. I just can't sing it.
My uncle,
in
Oklahoma,
right
used to listen to that all the time. I just got burnt on him too.
Yeah, your uncle, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Danny. He recently passed away. Actually,
was he a badass?
Probably. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
He was just funny. He's just an Oklahoma dude, fixing his cars in the yard with his 47 cars he's got parked in his front yard.
Was he good? Was he a good uncle? Was he a good uncle to have?
Great. I didn't grow up with him though.
How many cars did he? So how many? He left you 10 or 12 cars. How many?
No, he didn't leave me any cars. He had badass cars too. Like he had a couple Barracudas.
He could have left you one car.
Some Novas. I know he could have.
That's a good uncle. That's a good uncle.
Right? He would drink a Coors Light all the time.
Oh shit.
Was he a smoker? Gotta be smoking too.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
was he Mexican?
Definitely. No, he wasn't Mexican. He's a white guy.
Sonia, are you part
Nope,
fajita? What's the slang? You're wetback.
No, my grandson is though.
Gringo. So is that seen as an equal? Like they talk about racial slurs. Racial slurs. I never issued. People accuse me sometimes of issuing racial slurs. Thing is, I don't understand what they're talking about. I don't drink. And that's the only time that I'm getting kind of. So no, I think
Okay.
I'm somewhat articulate. So, but
Somewhat.
wetback, yeah, not as, but not as on
That's completely racial slurish. That
wetback.
means, yeah,
Why? What?
absolutely.
Why?
Because, well, I asked an actual Mexican person about this, and apparently it was from having to,
Sweat,
they're the,
work, rain.
swim in the river or something
Oh,
to
Yeah.
get here or something like
well,
that. Like
that
they're
makes
super
sense.
Mexican is what
That's
that
a
means,
good
super
then.
Mexican.
Fine, yeah.
And
It's
Yeah,
like
but it's
low,
just not
like a wet.
nice, not very nice.
Wow. So too bad.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. But I
it's
think
like
free speech.
calling us like,
I think free
goyim
speech
or something.
entitles
It's not cool.
people to express things that are occasionally viewed by others as not all that nice. I think
Yeah.
that's free speech does protect the right
It's
to
kind of like saying the N word there, Jeff. I'm just saying.
Oh
nagger,
my God.
nagger,
Yeah, that one.
nagger.
Yeah,
That's you're kind of getting on
Dear
my
Lord
nerves right now. You're
Jesus.
reminding me of a
of a
big
nagger.
nagger. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever, bro. Okay, you're lucky you're in Korea. That's all I gotta say.
I'll tell you one thing.
She
Speaking of
said that with
Korea,
a southern accent, too.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
well,
She's like, you're damn lucky I'm
You're
gonna come
damn,
get
you're
you.
damn lucky.
well, it being in Korea yesterday and the whole nagger N-word business, there was this term that came up. We're talking cheapskate, tightwad, penny pincher, and then so these people, what are they? They're all niggardly in their thinking. Their thinking is niggardly. And
What about frijoles negros?
okay, well that's is that something you
Isn't
eat?
it
Is that something?
frijole?
Beans. Yeah, it's
Frijole
black
is
beans,
Yeah.
what you eat.
Frijole, okay.
which are very tasty, by the way.
But niggardly, my students, as much as I do, I joke around a lot with them, and then most of the things that I say that are kind of a little edgy, go over their heads when it comes to like, oh, it's like sexist or racist. Or, I don't care. I
Well,
throw it out
you're
there.
Canadian, though. You're Canadian, and like you guys don't realize that you're like born racist and shit.
You
Like
think so?
without even knowing it. Yeah, it's
Polite
like a part
racists.
of
We're polite
it's
racists. Yeah.
yeah, like
So
Born in
okay, well,
Oklahoma.
Canadian is not a race, dude. It's a nationality. What the hell are you
well,
talking? Get it
I'm
straight.
saying like Canadians are like born racist, dude. And they don't even know it.
It's not a
like,
race. It's a nationality. I don't know. I don't think you know what
oh,
you're
it's
talking
like
about.
Oh wow.
even when you're trying to be nice though, and trying to be courteous to the black people, and you're still being racist. I mean,
Black
it's
people
like
do you know how many blacks live in
Canadians.
Canada? Do you know how many black
Canadians.
Canadians
That's
there
what
are?
I'm saying.
There's lots of
That's what
black
I'm saying.
Canadians. That's the whole point. Canadians are
It really
multi-ethnic,
doesn't have much to do
multinational
with it.
country.
That's my point. That's
You're
my
being
point,
racist.
dude.
You're being racist by assuming that all Canadians are white.
Well,
Aha!
you guys. I
Gotcha.
have an issue. I only have
Gotcha.
an issue with the
Gotcha.
French people. Like you guys need to stop those French people from eating horses.
Okay, now you're attacking the French. That's
Now
a
you're
bridge
attacking
too
French.
far.
Yeah.
You're attacking the
Not
French. Sacre
Well, they
bleu.
eat horses.
Tabernacle.
Stop attacking people, Roger.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
I'm
niggardly, and I said that to me it was like, don't use that term. Just don't use it. No, tightwad, cheapskate, niggardly. It's like that's just no. But as we've talked about in the past, like when you're with friends, I use fucking like, nigger this, nigger that, or queers, like queer this, oh yeah, you're fucking queer, you're fucking homo. Among friends, they can
never
do it
used queer with my
in
friends.
a friendly kind of joking way, right? And
Homo,
it's
maybe.
no big deal unless, well, it shouldn't be any deal.
Gay
People
all
are
the time.
friends. But you don't do it with total strangers or they might take it the wrong way. So, and let me just say before we cut to commercial break, the views and opinions expressed on behalf of myself, the show's host, and our roundtable co-hosts and commentators do not necessarily reflect the those of the wider listening audience nor the show's sponsors. Moreover, that anything we're not here to offer any formal legal, medical, or financial advice. If you do have anything in those areas where you are looking for some support, we encourage you to reach out to people duly, qualified, certified. That's how the game's played, folks, right? That's how it works. Even though there's a lot of great people that I've met in my life that have not been certified.
I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV.
Just because that's an appeal to authority, right? And just because someone doesn't have the proper credentials doesn't mean that they don't know what they're talking about. They might know more, and they might offer actually better opinion and insight than this one who actually is, pulling this obscene annual salary that they're managing to bank, obviously, like every year as it is. We're riding the big gravy train. But just to be clear, cut to the point, keep it short, that we do encourage everyone to, just to contact people who you feel confident will be able to help you with your problems in those areas, financial, health, or on a financial, health, or legal basis. And, just use your just discretion. Obviously, that we're largely here for entertainment purposes, and entertainment, I wouldn't say only, but that's the category that we fit into, and it seems that we managed to do a lot better when it comes to the censorial ways of certain social media platforms and how they like to shut people down. They're not big fans of free speech or net neutrality. They do all they can to really throw a wrench into the works, so that folks such as ourselves, Discord, both of our accounts shut down. Elon, not so free speech. Musk over on X, thanks a lot. Elon, not. Like to see our two accounts reanimated and brought back to life. That, I think, was a whole CAPTCHA issue, though. I could be wrong, but my theory at this point is it was this silly CAPTCHA game that we've all run into, that they like, okay, click on all the buses. Okay, click on all the sidewalks. Okay, click on all the cars. Like, just that's what we were up against. And I don't know, there's people that are making chicken feed. I in that whole kind of cottage industry, digital feudalistic, scam basically that's in place. And I'm not sure what the thinking is exactly, or how it's seen as some wonderful service that they're offering where they're managing to separate the wheat from the chaff. But that's what I think ended up, because we kept getting these pop-ups and targeted by this CAPTCHA nonsense. What can you do? You can't log in or engage the platform unless you respond. So we were really screwed. So anyways, we're going to cut away to commercial break. Be back here with another segment, essentially. We're going to call the group back. So just stand by, folks, and we will do what we can here to reconnect in just a few minutes. They were right. Carlin and Richard Pryor, they did have a lot of interesting things to say. It's quite something how professional comedians can often be many of society's most insightful voices, people that do have something to offer, that it's quite often more than just the jokes that you find, punchlines. So what do we got here? I'm your Uberman, courtesy of Vinny over on D-Lab. We're going to refresh our restream. I'm not sure why we're stuck on the Santa hat couple, the new friends that we've made over on Facebook, actually, is who we're looking at there. Could be because they look like a happy couple. It's a great picture. Why not have it there? So click on over to the chat and get that fired up once again. And cut away to commercial break as promised. What we're looking at here, of course, is Red Dragon Herbs and Teas. With any order of $25 or more, you will immediately receive a 10% discount. All you simply have to do is let Ryan or his wife know. Pirate Radio or Pirate Code. will know exactly what you're talking about. Meanwhile, over on the CannaSense Cannabis Collective front, 5813 is our referral link number 5813. We'll be back in just a flash here, folks. Don't touch that computer mouse or radio dial.
Medical cannabis is now legal by telemedicine. Get the medicine you need by getting reviewed for a medical cannabis card. Contactless appointments available at CannaSense.com. For as low as $39, you can get reviewed for a medical cannabis card. That's CannaSense.com for a licensed medical cannabis doctor review. CannaSense.com has all the information you need to get connected with a doctor for a $39 medical cannabis appointment. CannaSense.com. CannaSense is common sense.
Catering exclusively to the Des Moines, Iowa area and beyond. Red Dragon Herbs and Teas is a small, family-owned business dedicated to the creation of only the finest quality artisan herbal tea blends. Drawing upon many of the world's most richly established customs and traditions, Red Dragon Herb's mission is about more than just getting their products out to the market. They also strive to help educate their customers on the wider benefits, history, and folklore of all their plants. Of course, any seasoned pirate knows when they're fixin' to tango with the Kraken, you best be powered up with at least one of the finest select quality premium items, freely offered via Red Dragon Herbs and Teas wide inventory. Choosing from any of their caffeine-free, headache relief, or rest and relaxation blends, history has proven their products among the best sources of scurvy prevention and vitamin supplementation. Red Dragon Herbs and Teas, bringing you guaranteed homegrown health relief.
Red Dragon Herbs and Teas, bringing you guaranteed homegrown health relief. We are back with the final segment to this week's live streaming edition of World Pirate Radio News. It's show number 320. Not quite 420. That'll be another 100 shows down the road. Should be quite interesting. I wonder if South Korea will have finally ended its prohibition of weed by that point in time. You know, they only brought in and worked to launch the whole Reefer Madness campaign in 1976. Isn't that something? 1976. Most Koreans have no idea. No idea whatsoever. 1976. They don't know their history very well. Many of them. All too often, that's just the unfortunate state of things. And they've done a great job in propagandizing, catapulting the propaganda and working to do all they can in promoting fear and ignorance. So we know what great benefits, of course, it has proven to offer so many people in the West as far as cancer treatment and many other health health challenges that people face. So, yeah, who do we hear? Is that Mark actually that we've connected with this go round? Is that right?
Yeah, I'm back in here.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
was out getting some coffee earlier.
Mhm.
I had fixed the truck earlier today, so I figure I'd go out and treat myself to something later since I spent all that money anyways, you know?
Right. Yeah, Mark, courtesy of Drigas Productions. So
Yeah.
we had called up short time ago. Actually, the show started, well, not quite 2 hours ago, but Yvonne's back here as well. We got Vinny from Brooklyn. Sonia might pop back in along with Roger Hansen. So welcome to all of you. Yvonne, what's the latest? Have you returned back home from your open house, open mic gig?
Yeah.
Bring your camera down a little bit if you could as well too. Get yourself more. There you go. Better, freely, centered. Ooh, oh, geez. These eyes. Yeah. What group? Name the tune. Name the group. These eyes.
Guess Who.
Yeah, that's what I. No, I'm telling you. No, I'm telling you. Not. Yeah, no, I'm telling you to guess who, man. Don't turn it around on me like that.
That's the name of the band. The Guess Who. Yeah. Name the year.
Mark, you have a really, I don't know, but you've got a really hairy arm. Are you? So they're looking for the Sasquatch or Bigfoot, as some people refer to him. I think we might have found him.
No, my feet are very little. I'm part of the Puckwudgie group.
No, your arms are very hairy.
Don't tell no one. All right. I'm broadcasting from an undisclosed location somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Let's see the hair on your arms one more time if we could.
Yeah.
Is that like get it in the light? Can you bring some light on there? This is the hairiest other than Robin Williams. It's incredible. Have you had yourself tested for gorilla DNA? Oh, here we go. He's game. He's game. So this is not a shirt. Get it closer to the computer screen if you could, maybe. I don't know. The monitor. Look at, are those tattoos or is that just hair?
No tattoos. I don't have any tattoos at all.
That's just.
I do have scratches though.
Bro, like
cat
that.
Scratch feet.
That is the hairiest arm I think I've ever seen in my life. Besides the gorilla that I once had to wrestle with in the zoo when I was about 4 or 5. So, yeah. Might have all been a dream, of course, too. I really couldn't tell you.
My phone battery's dying, by the way.
Let us know how.
I remind people, if you want, have counseling for 30 minutes free.
That's right.
Harpo.ca. Get hold
what
of
do you
us.
offer? People with PTSD,
everything,
depression, right? Okay.
Anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
Depression, culture shock.
You work any hypnotherapy techniques?
Not yet.
NLP?
Not really. I'm not into that.
Well, I think we're all NLP, whether we realize it or not, just by virtue of the fact that we.
Well, if you're into Tony Robbins, that's fine. But he's one of the proponents of NLP. He made it popular.
Neuro-linguistic programming, for those of you out there wondering. NLP, yeah. But it's all, everything is NLP. I would argue, I really would. And that some people are just more aware and focused with the way that they use language and to convey their intent and purpose. Because I mean, what are these words that we utter forth anyways? What is language?
Yeah.
It's you have an audience, right? You have images and ideas, value system structured within our heads, if you will. It goes further than that, I guess. So, but and then we try to convey and communicate, to share, and then get some sort of feedback, I suppose. But anyways, so okay, your battery's dying. What more can we hear? I'd like to. What's the latest via Canada? What are your thoughts regarding King Charles?
I don't care about King Charles.
Well, we know you don't.
French. We use the guillotine. That's how we deal with our kings and queens.
Well, not to this
Off of
point you
their head.
haven't. Not to this point you haven't. I wasn't expecting. I was half expecting
You
maybe like a
French.
little gunpowder plot 2.0 there via Ottawa, although that's not how it all played out, and probably that's for the best. That it was more a peaceful, civil unfolding of events, of course. And he had to say, did you hear the speech at all, or have you been following the news?
No, I've been busy. No time.
What are your
Sorry.
thoughts? What now? This, do you think it's just a coincidence that that Carney invited him to offer the throne speech? First time that this has occurred since 1977. The reigning monarch, the crown of England, and actually Canada too, as things currently stand.
I have no opinion on it.
Well,
it doesn't matter to me. Doesn't affect me.
You sure about
Not
that?
my
Are
circus,
you?
not my monkeys.
Okay. All right.
Bernie's belong in a circus.
Well, that's the thing about that's ironic, isn't? Yeah, that's right. We have a prime minister who's he's the king of carnies in many ways. A former banker, head of the Bank of England. I guess you know that, right?
Yep.
So
I'm gonna get going.
Okey
If anyone
doke.
wants counseling, get a hold of me. Take care. Live long and prosper. Love ya.
All right. Happy sailing, Yvonne. Take care.
Bye, all.
Yeah.
Cheers. Bye.
Yeah. Okay. So, Vinny, Sonia, and Mark, let's hear from you. I think Sonia and Vinny have had a chance to check out the talking points. Mark, they're there in the chat if you're so inclined, or just for that matter, anything else that is, prescient, I believe is the word, or really kind of on your radar this week.
Well, everything this week has been focused on getting this truck fixed, and I finally got it fixed.
Oh.
So, and then tomorrow I got shows, is. So you know how it is. So, and then in between, as a stress reliever, I do AI art. I don't know if Sonia told you that.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Where are all the pirates?
I did send her a bunch of pirate pictures.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Good.
Before, go ahead and show them to them, Sonia.
How do I do that?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, speaking of pirates, we've got galacticfire.com/pirate with our great swag here up for grabs. And, these are some of the designs we have in place. Take a peek at our treasure chest, slashing through BS and like thieves in the night. Take your pick, folks. And beware the technokraken, okay? These are slogans that are near and dear to our hearts. And if you, of course, as listeners, come up with anything else that you like or would prefer, let us know. Half of everything we do manage to generate, profit-wise, goes back to the grassroots, #WWRHD. So the prices of these items range anywhere. I think that the shirts are what, in a $20, $25?
$20.25.
That's pretty affordable, as
It is.
all things considered. So now, do we have anything on the back of these shirts yet?
Mm-mm.
Well, I'll tell you what. We should talk about that after the show, maybe. So that's really affordable. Look at that. And the coffee mugs are more like $10 or $12, as I recall. Is that right?
11, I believe.
Yeah, there we
I
go.
think they're 11, something like that.
Mm-hmm. And we've even Robert Morningstar. I did mention to him the fact that you are a potential, someone who's the head of our merchandising department and someone who could offer him support in that area. So hopefully the two of you manage to get together on that. Either one or the other reach out, and get the ball rolling. So,
notice you've been an influence on Mark. He's starting to show his computer.
Well, I hope that's about all he shows, because
well,
the hairy arm was bad. It was enough.
Yeah.
He's moving along, getting there. Now we just need Roger.
No,
You're talking like flashing
I
there.
think it's just a bad influence.
What are we talking about? What are we talking about
that's
exactly?
not a bad one. That's a good one. Looking at that is interesting.
What Mark has here up on screen? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like when he gets up, if he walks through that door, you'll see his backside. I saw it once already. So.
He's sitting butt ass naked or what?
Yeah, probably. He does. He probably is.
Oh.
Well, come on now. Closed optional radio is one of the things that I do.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Ian Gillan used to record his lyrics, his singing naked in the studio.
Who's that?
I'm not.
Ian Gillan, the singer of what the heck, Black Sabbath and Deep Purple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at what we've got here then. I think this is up on the screen. Yeah, yes indeed. So, let us know if we're missing out on anything here, or having any technical snafus or what have you as well, folks. That's why partly what we like to bring you on board for is the support, the wing support role that you can potentially play. And do keep an eye out on DLive, where sometimes people like Reverend Jim, they drop in, and others, and provide us with a little digital live streaming love. So George went dead at 76. Norm from Cheers. Yeah, well, we're all here to go, aren't we? I'm not sure if anything. Well, maybe Scott Adams, same as Biden's cancer, and he, of course, Dilbert. I guess he's the author of Dilbert cartoon strip. Was DC shooting a false flag? That's we always got to ask yourself this as the default position. Like we have to be leery. Go ahead.
Yeah. Who benefits, right?
Right. Sure. And the timing. Okay, folks. Timing. And I didn't see any bodies or blood. Did you? Did anyone see any bodies or blood? It was all just a
report, right?
It was just a report. And we all know, like, there's paid actors that, that's crisis actors. It's a cottage industry. So let's not be so easily, duped or deceived. As we mentioned earlier, Duck Dynasty star Phil Robertson dead at 79. And this Peter McCullough business, that is so prescient, I believe is the term. Once again, I'll have to look that one up. What I'm trying to convey here is it's timely, but it's also it's a bombshell. It's huge, and it says right here bombshell. That's right.
Yeah, it's absolutely perfect. The timing couldn't be better.
The autopsies have shown that COVID kill shots, experimental kill shots, caused 3/4 of the deaths. That now, what kind of deaths are these exactly? Just anyone that died through in the last year or two? Is that right? Or who's dying? Like, who are they taking? Like a subset? Who are they sampling?
I bet you they sampled a bunch of coroners who found a bunch of gooey stuff in people's bodies time after time.
Yeah, SADS, sudden adult death syndrome, and I mean we've all seen the video footage, and it's like, then of course you have the damage control, the people who, for I guess they have a vested interest, or they're just I guess they want to play devil's advocate and say, well, it's not really what you see here, not really what you think. It's
right. Don't believe the evidence of their lying eyes. Right.
Dr. Charles Chucky Lieber resettling in China. So
imagine that.
Robert Morningstar, with the timing, the context of things, he's a bad dude, man. And his father was a real creep too. Like, what do you get when you cross a Jew with a Nazi? A Genazi, I guess. I guess they're Genazis. These are some of the worst Genazis. Do you know that there were 150,000 Genazis that fought for Hitler in World War II? 150,000.
You're not surprised at that, are you?
Well, well, I'm not surprised, but it's just what I'm not surprised about either is the fact of how it's not reported on or covered or mentioned, at least in any high school or college history texts.
Well, that complicates the story. The fable of the wooden doors, Jeffy. That's the problem.
What do you mean? What is that exactly?
Well, because most of what we hear about World War II has been completely fabricated, right? Billy Wilder did the shrunken heads, right? The exhibits.
Oh, you're talking about the lampshades and
yes, the soap,
bars
right?
of soap.
Yeah, all that stupidity.
Well,
I think it has to do with dumbing down society, to be honest, because see, World War II is an exciting topic for these people, and they've been dumbed down so much they don't want to read or learn about history. So you get a whole bunch of people who are just stupid, and what do they want to talk about? They want to talk about all the cool,
sports,
exciting shit. Yeah.
celebrities.
They don't want to hear about that stuff.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear
TikTok,
about what happened.
TikTok videos.
Oh, chicks doing
sure
funky stuff,
twerking their asses and flat, yeah, all that kind of good stuff. Well, and another thing too, I've noticed, like with YouTube, it's all they have to offer is like endless these silly games that they promote and advertise. Like, come play our silly computer game, our silly RPG game. Which I know you, even at I'm not sure what stage of life you're at right now, Roger, but I don't hold it against you in any way. Everyone does their own thing. They've got their lives to lead, and you've got a lot of stress, of course, and it's one of those things that helps to people to let off a little steam and enjoy themselves.
See, a lot of people have a misconception about RPG games, like tabletops, especially. Like, some of the smartest people in the world love that stuff. And
are you talking like
actually,
throwing dice, like pencil and dice?
all of it.
I love that stuff. Oh, I do, but I just don't have time. I don't have time.
It's just it does something for your imagination.
Well, that's why I play guitar and do music now.
Yeah,
it's like totally just. And writing, I've never been more productive in all my life because I guess, I don't know, I was so lazy for so long and I didn't give a shit. I didn't care. I was, what the hell? I'm living here. Like, why even bother? I'm so isolated. I don't bother.
All those drugs.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah. So, okay, Jay, here's the thing. Oliver Stone, I'm calling him out. What a load. I'm not happy with Oliver Stone, even though he did claim that Netanyahu is probably the most dangerous, world so-called leader that he's encountered in recent times. Even more so than Putin, believe it or not, or Castro, what have you. But here's the thing. And finally, I've noticed we've left comments with some of these YouTube videos where they talk about the Kennedy assassination, and we make it clear. We leave comments and say, like, oh yeah, FBI, rogue CIA, mafia. You got the dissident, the Cuban dissidents, right, through the Bay of Pigs and so forth. So that's what the constantly over and over and over again. It's a false quadrilemma. It's basic, there's false dilemma. Pepsi, Coke. What do you want? Republican, Democrat. Right? You're free, Republican, Democrat. In Canada, conservative, liberal. You're free, right? So, but the thing about it with the JFK assassination, they never mention Israel. But you start looking into it, and I'm not going to get into it now. I'm going to leave it to people out there listening to, if they're inclined, dig around. Like, I'll tell you what, Jack Rubenstein, Oswald shooter. Okay, we'll leave it there. And Jack Rubenstein. And what was it I was going to ask Robert while we had him here, his thoughts regarding the whole Dorothy Kilgallen murder. She went home. That
was curious, wasn't it?
She's like, what's my line? She went home that night and apparently overdosed on barbiturates and alcohol. Did she ever do barbiturates or alcohol? She never drank or did drugs ever. She never did.
Right.
And the
But they
thing
call
about
it
it, hey,
suicide.
she apparently had come into possession, courtesy of Jack Ruby, of a lot of documents, a lot of papers, a lot of names, and then her statement was that she was going to blow the whole lid off of the Kennedy killing. She was rather naive, of course, in going about it the way she did. But she did have a friend. But here's the thing, and Robert will know that he'll be able to clearly. You might know about this too, Vinny, perhaps, or even Roger. I'm not so sure about Sonia because this is not really her bailiwick, as it were. But that's fine. My wife and I we live in different worlds. At least Sonia and I actually live in philosophically, and as far as what our interests, it's a little closer because we're Westerners. But as you can understand, hopefully most can understand with the cultural differences, it makes it a bit of a challenge. But anyways, Dorothy Kilgallen, her friend, she had a friend that she either provided as an insurance policy. She I think that's what it was. That there were certain documents or evidence files and folders that she shared and with her friend gave to her, and I think her friend ended up dead the very in the same day or within a very short period of time as well. It was a total, and I think who I think was behind the whole thing was James Jesus Angleton, because
that's not a bad mess.
Who was, because who was that woman that was caught? Remember JFK's former girlfriend? She was the one who was who?
Mary Pinchot Mayer, you mean?
Yes. Cord Meyer's wife, essentially.
Wife, yeah.
She seemed like she was a really brilliant woman. I'm gonna take it off of there for a while. We clean up just finish commenting on the whole JFK
Who
business.
got me? Who got me the most out of that whole situation when it comes to the women? It was the wife. It was Jackie. Like a lot of people talk about MK Ultra and everything, how they influenced the women. You take a look at Marilyn Monroe. Look at all the women JFK was with, but then take a look at Jackie and how she handled the assassination so well. Like
she was pretty mind controlled, eh?
Yeah, I mean, she wasn't really all out there. You'd think a woman who just had her husband's head blown off would just fall apart, but like within a matter of a year and a half, she is married to somebody else.
Are you hold it? Within a year or two, she was with Onassis?
Onassis, yeah, shortly after.
Well, I'll tell you, and you know why that she did that?
Do
you think it was love?
I think she was an asset.
Do you know? Well, my understanding is she wanted to protect her children.
It could be.
She wanted her children protected.
I'll tell you this: I'm so surprised that she crawled out on the hood to grab that piece of skull. That's what got me.
Let me finish with the point. Let me finish with this point regarding Mary Pinchot Meyer, because when she was killed, now I forget exactly who it was that went to her house to check up on things, and Robert will be able to fill us in. He's the guy that he knows just the JFK, the whole the case and the story, the history inside and out, up and down, back and forth, inside and out. Although him and we do differ in some various issues and particulars, but that's not the point. The point is that whoever showed up at Mary Pinchot Meyer's house, guess who she found? Guess who she found? I don't think it was a man, actually, as memory serves. By the way, there's a picture of. Do you know who that is on the screen there? It looks like Rolf Harris, but it's not. There's Garcia. Oh shit, we don't have the screen share on, do we? Bloody hell, we gotta. I don't think we had that on the first go round for you guys. Or actually we might have. So now you can see me here. The Teams group you can see. Presumably you can see me on camera here. Is that right? I'm not sure if you're going to be able to hear much at all. Let's see if we can get this set up again so that we can There we go. We want our sound included, of course. Do that one more time. Perfecto mundo. But where the hell was you going with this? Now, I probably forgot one of the little adjuncts or subpoints, but whoever it was that went, there's like a wellness check or just to, whatever the reasoning was to see, what was going on in the Meyer residence. They found James Jesus Angleton rifling through her. There was an apartment or loft that she was living at that point. I think she was separate from her husband at the time. Cord Meyer, who was, if you listen to Robert break it down, Cord Meyer was someone who was a central player in the World Federalist Society or Association, the World Federalist Movement. That's a bit. We'll have to remind me to get Robert to refresh us on that one. It's very, very intriguing, and the rabbit hole goes really deep on that front. So, but Mary Pinchot Meyer, apparently, she was the one who, courtesy through Timothy Leary, turned JFK on to LSD. And as well as probably, I'm not sure if he'd smoked weed or what have you up to that point, but then it gets into the whole thing regarding Dr. Feelgood, and how Kennedy had this psychotic breakdown, apparently.
Yeah.
Because he got shot up once, more milk, Michael Jackson, right? So
you want to hear something about that too?
Yeah, go ahead.
CIA, it's a tactic of theirs to do the same exact thing to people to where it looks like an accident rather than a murder. They'll spike them with drugs that can potentially harm them, and then they would go out and do crazy stuff. During that time, MK Ultra was experimenting with LSD on soldiers and everybody, and they would do that regularly to see what the reaction was.
Frank Olson.
I believe they put. I believe it was the first. What we call meth today is what they put in his drink or something. They said that, or no, it was the doctor gave him a freaking dose of it. It was methamphetamines.
Yes, that's right.
And he went crazy, stripped down butt naked, and went down into the hotel lobby and stuff, running around like a nut.
Both Hitler and JFK had two. They were Jewish Dr. Feelgoods. Coincidentally. Interestingly, it's always got a. I guess I don't know. Maybe it's why they've got to be Jewish. You tell me. So maybe I guess Goy, Gentile just aren't qualified or motivated.
Bankers. All the good bankers. All the good bankers are either Jewish or Italian.
They dominate every industry every major industry: entertainment, finance, business, big pharma, media, you name it. It's like you look at the so they've there's Hitler's master race for you. They've done a pretty good job. And that's what Hitler said, apparently, his last words, kind of like Alexander the Great. It's like, to the victor go the spoils. But Hitler, some of his last words before he disappeared to Argentina was, because he was asked who do you want, something like who's going to come out on top here, who would you like to see succeed and dominate, and he said to the strongest, something Alexander the Great understood, that, and when it's said the strongest, it's like, you hear about strong men, strong leaders. Basically, you've got to, you can't have problems eliminating people at no expense or at any expense. So, and it kind of brings me around to the Mad Max business, what we were looking at earlier on screen regarding what Putin, he's sending these, speak and methamphetamine. I wonder how Captagoned, you've heard of Captagon, probably. Captagon, the drug that is being used. And see, a lot of the words that we are using here today, you see these larger videos and they say the that they're using, they bleep it out. You know, like Jeffrey Epstein was a pedo. You know, like the any word that's the age it seems like we're living in now, the day and age. Like for whatever reason, maybe I guess it's just people self-censoring because they feel it is it'll have less of an impact on the bottom line because they're trying to with the monetization optimize what they managed to generate. So but these Mad Max type where the hell is that now? I thought, oh, here we go. Yeah, Putin's suicidal Mad Max biker units are tipping the balance in the Ukraine war. Mad Max biker units. They're getting whacked by drones. You see them speeding along across the battlefield. And I just don't understand what the point is. Like, it's ridiculous and absurd. And they're just getting nuked. They're getting whacked. You know, it's just, but to think that they're not high on something, you would have to be. You know, you'd have to be totally stoked. Actually, one of the commentators felt that they're threats, like either you're either going to go or you're going to get shot in the back. So, but anyways, Canada's rent-free immigrant policy. I wonder if Charles is a supporter of that or not. You know, wonder what his thoughts are regarding that whole business. Really not too much. But it is interesting to note that every week, is it not the case? Someone set me straight here if I'm off the mark. But the Prime Minister of Britain, Starmer, and Rent Boy, not advocate, but avid rent boy patron, I guess he would be, right? So he loves his rent boys. It's kind of how the story's going, that they're targeting his estate or his apartments now with these incidents of arson taking place. And I guess there are these East European rent boys that are being caught up in the drama. So people can look into that a little more if they're so inclined. Vinny, did you hear anything about that? It's Starmer over in, and I don't know if I finished my point, but the king meets with the prime minister on a weekly basis for just a jolly old cup of tea, while over via Canada, the Carney, the he's not even the head of state. Actually, prime minister is not the head of state. The head of state is Charles. It's the king. But anyways, that the prime minister that they've put into position, appointed within that capacity, that he's I think known Charles for many years. It's a long-standing friendship, so they're very close. And this is one more reason. It makes all that much more sense to have had to invited him to offer the throne speech. But yeah, a lot on JFK, of course, and yeah, Jack Rubenstein, the whole Dorothy Kilgallen tie-in. It's quite something. There's no doubt about that. So
I get uncomfortable when I hear people use words like rent boy. That sounds like a homosexual thing to me. Like,
Well,
and they use it for a lot of things.
What it is, isn't it?
You know, well, I don't know. I mean, it's like.
How about Big Hot Stud?
Well, I mean, I remember back in the 80s when people used to call gay people gayfers, and like me and Robot always crack up over it because he's never heard the term before. But I remember,
gayfer?
Yeah, they used to call them gayfers. Like, I like, dude, I remember that back when I was like 12 and 13. Everybody's like calling gay people gayfers and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, dude, they use that term all the time, and now they're using like fanboy and rent boys and
Hey, speaking of which, what would it take for someone such as myself, or anyone for that matter, to as a male to launch an OnlyFans account?
You'd have to take it up the butt.
No.
I bet.
No, you don't have to do anything, man. You do whatever the hell you feel like. Oh, gee, you're just not. No, you have OnlyFans. I bet you. No, what are you talking about? You don't meet these people.
Are you planning on going on Grindr? Are you planning on going on Grindr or places like that?
No, I was just wondering, like, because our revenue stream at present is quite. You take it up the butt?
No, I would get on OnlyFans. Well, I guess I'd have to if I'm going to go on OnlyFans.
In your mind, you seem to have some sort of anal. First you mentioned anal beads, and now it's taking up the butt. So I don't know.
You have to realize that Roger talks to Mark Edworthy all the time about baby oil on Vixen's Vault. So hey,
really?
Well, yeah, let's go there.
I did have some. I have to make a retraction too. I did find out that P. Diddy did not have a receipt for the baby oil. That was something that his lawyer said to. Yeah, I know. That's what his lawyer said to a person in an interview, which I think is pretty stupid.
He always got other people to do the dirty work. They always got their hands dirty. He just set them to work, let them do their thing. Right?
Yeah. No.
Right. So
don't let Mark fool you either. He was trying to set up a freaking wrestling match between me and Mark, and we were all gonna lather down in baby oil.
He was gonna live stream it over Rumble, is that right?
Yeah, that's what he was gonna do.
That'd be a big revenue generator. You can bet for sure. So, anyways, I was just wondering, like, no, why can't anyone just open their OnlyFans? You do it on your terms, right? You don't ridiculous. Someone says, and you can keep it totally non-sexual. That's what you were just jumping. You're jumping to conclusions in your head. You have these weird kind of fantasies.
I'd be showing.
You take it up the butt.
I would be showing my junk, dude. I'd be like, "Come on, baby, come on over here. You know you want it."
Well, we're talking men though, too, right?
That's where Roger goes into hot tubs and.
Roger, we don't even see you on camera. What are you talking about? You're so full of it.
It's because they want that sexy voice. They don't want that face. They want that hot, sexy voice.
Oh God.
Like Chocolate Thunder. What's up? How you doing, baby?
Maybe try that out with Karma Love. See how that goes over.
She loves me. She loves it, dude. She says, "Man, your voice is just as smooth can be, baby."
Yeah. So
don't stop talking.
Have you seen the rest of the talking points? As in everyone. So we got the male strippers, Starmer's male prostitutes, Diddy's trial, Putin's helicopter targeted by drones. Biden's, it is 93 billion too. I thought it was 83, but you're right. But here's the big one. Here's the big story. And I should have bounced this off of Morningstar. Well, we had them on board as well. UK, France, Germany, US lift range restrictions on military supplies to Ukraine. That's a big deal, folks. That's not what we want to hear. That's not what we want to see. And I like, they say in politics, timing is everything. What came first? And the U.S. So that had to have had Trump's blessing then. So he probably being pressured, because I would imagine with the attack on the Ukrainian villages. Why they were being targeted, I have no idea. It's something I have to look into a little more deeply. But then following that, if I got the timeline straight, the drone swarm attack. Someone is speaking of baby oil. Sounds like someone's lathering themselves up right now. I'm not sure if that's Roger or Sonia.
No.
Probably Sonia.
No.
She's maybe you do. You got that effect on women. Sonia, keep that for the after show. All right, we're almost done. We only got a few more minutes left here. I just don't.
Smart.
She can't hold off, can she, Roger? So,
well, Sonya's
beaver.
She's a wild woman. I got to be careful with her because she gets all hot and bothered and everything, and like I'd step away.
Mm-hmm.
Now Mark has to take care of the woman.
What are your thoughts regarding this whole business? So that I heard about this a long time ago, and General McGregor, along with Scott Ritter, but General McGregor he's got his finger on the pulse.
With Trump. With Trump, you Canadians keep forgetting one thing that was a big deal to him that kind of messed up, and that was NAPL, North American Pipeline. He really, really thought that was going to be a great idea. Canada was on board, and all of a sudden that was just pulled out from
Guess what? You know what?
Right.
It's interesting you mention that because Carney, it sounds like Trump and Carney may have been talking about that. We just haven't heard about it all that much to this point because Carney said there's a public statement that he issued recently talking about the pipeline, and I think this is what you're referring to, some pipeline or another. Naroki would know. Red Pill Nation Hangout, little plug for our good friend Naroki, that the pipeline would require a consensus, whatever the hell that means. Does that mean everybody agrees? Like all parties concerned must agree? So that was his. It wasn't just going to be a unilateral decision.
Nope.
Have it forced upon the public.
Trump. All of this crazy stuff that's going on between Canada and the United States right now, in my opinion, is all because Trump's trying to negotiate and maneuver to where he can get NAPL back on.
Oh, with the tariffs?
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
Well, you know that is this in some way? Would this have to do anything then with Western separation heating up?
Yeah. Yeah.
The breakaway of Alberta and other provinces, including Saskatchewan. Who knows? Maybe even British Columbia. So, I'll tell you what though. This is kind of shifting gears a little bit in focus. You're kind of jumping around a little bit, but I had a dream the other night, and I sometimes have what I believe to be visionary dreams, where, for example, with the World War, oh gosh, what is it now? World War VI, as it was, October 7th in World War VI, that the night before, just, or the morning of, this major REM activity, and I could see, and it was more than just seeing, it was waking up with the feeling of what I'd seen, that it was powerful. It was really powerful, and my thought was, how could this be, with this conflict kicking off? Because it was like a warfare. It was more like a video game than anything else, actually. And I've had numerous military type dreams over the years, quite powerful, symbolic. I take them in a symbolic way of approaching things first and foremost, but there is a literal interpretation, I believe, one can easily apply. So, but in this one, October 7th was essentially what was the next big news item of the day, and this is just a few hours prior to this being reported on that I'd had this dream. Now, without going into any further detail, My dentist told me I need a crown. I was like, I know, right? Ooh. Okay, Chuck, you've got your crown. Yeah, so there you go. Congratulations. But with this latest one, yeah, breakaway, kind of a breaking up, disintegration. The western part of the Americas was one of the dreams that I had that was a similar. I would you could say maybe slightly semi-prophetic in a sense that people have been talking about it for a long time now. And this is not only Western Canada, but maybe Western states as well too. Greater fragmentation or what have you, breakaway type uh, effort on the part of a few various provinces, states, territories, what have you. So, but this latest one seemed to have to do more with almost like not even like beyond Eastern Europe, but like Turkey. Turkey,
Yeah.
if you can believe that. Some weird, I'm not sure. I'd have to revisit that, but it was these countries. Like I saw a map of the world, and things were dissolving, breaking up, and falling apart. So, and more like Near East or Asia Minor, Turkey, what have you. But, anyways, go ahead. We've only got a few minutes left here, too, folks. Go ahead.
We were talking about that the other day. Me and Nancy were about Sibel Edmond and her views on Gladio B when it comes to Turkey, Israel, and the Middle East.
Able
and
Danger. That's how she first came to the fore, did she not? With her, she was kicked out of the FBI. Was she? Was she fired?
Right.
FBI?
She was fired.
For reporting on Able Danger.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was her superior in the FBI. He was also not doing his job very well. He was taking home information, and so was the woman who approached her and tried to get her to join up with the American Turk Association or something like that, or coalition. And they were people who were into like gathering information and stuff and political um, favoritism and selling weapons to foreign countries. And she finally reported it to him, and he wouldn't listen to her. So she took it to the Supreme Court and then finally they gagged her and everything. It was pretty interesting story. Like they call her the most gagged female in the world or in the country.
Sounds pretty hot.
Yeah, she is hot too. Though. I gotta tell you, she's probably one of the hottest chicks I've seen on the internet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she really is. She's a hot.
She's a pretty decent MILF caliber. There's no doubt about that. So is she Lebanese, or what's her ethnic and ancestral extraction? And
she's Iranian.
Yeah, so she's very gifted, capable with multiple Middle Eastern, Arabic. I think she's fluent, right? So that's part of the job.
Well, she was a linguistics, and her job was to interpret the language when after 9/11 happened, so she could hear what they were saying and turn around and translate it
in Hebrew.
And they wanted her to alter what she was hearing, and then the wiretaps and everything. It had to do with all that. Yeah.
So dirty, the whole thing, just from top to bottom. There's a picture actually of Ann Diamond, someone that we're going to be, if everything goes as scheduled, hosting. You can see that gentleman in the background here once again. Does anyone recognize who this individual is? But Ann Diamond, poet, Canadian poet, poetess, and someone I believe who endured some degree of MK Ultra abuse, essentially, targeting, and so that's part of her history. She's been on a number of podcasts over the past few years, And one of her claims to fame was how she was for a time both a friend, girlfriend, and perhaps I believe even lover of Leonard Cohen's. So I'm really looking forward to the talk in a whole number of different ways. I'm curious to know if Anne has an interest in Buddhism. Leonard became a Zen Buddhist. Was quite serious about that for a number of years. I think he felt it helped him with his neurotic, his monkey mind, the practice of meditation, one pointed, focused breathing, essentially. So, but also that Mr. Cohen himself, who I love and admire his work and his musical catalog greatly. Even though he may have served for many years as a Mossad asset, I'm not sure. I wouldn't go so far as to say agent. That may have been the case. I think almost certainly. I mean, he was to what extent he was a Zionist exactly, I have no idea. Somewhat rabid, as many of them can be, obviously. So, and I don't understand why. Israel even has to exist. Frankly, I really don't get it. They say, "Oh, it's the Holocaust, the Holocaust." Well, why can you people? And there's a lot of Jews that do not support Israel. Let's just, we got to be clear about that. Most Semites are not Jewish. So they talk about anti blah blah. They call it Semitism. What the hell is Semitism? So annoying. As you guys here listening part of the roundtable, you hear me rail against endlessly. It's a meaningless term, frankly. It's just absurd and ridiculous because it encapsulates culture, history, language, religion, geography. It's everything. And that it's far more that the actual, what's anti-Semitic is how they've absconded with and usurped the term. They've weaponized it. That's what's most anti-Semitic and hugely misleading. And most Jews themselves, they're not Semites in the first place. So what are they even talking about? They're Eastern European, the descendants of the Eastern European converts from the 8th or I think it's 9th century. So, and it was all done as on a strategic, political reasons. Israel being it's a Rothschild pipe dream, I guess. It's something that they had long wanted to see come into existence, and they got their wish. But I wonder what sort of conflict, chaos, and bloodshed the world would have seen had there been no Israel. Has the existence of Israel, as bad as things are, and continue to be to this day with now the people of Gaza, the real Semites, facing, it's just, I don't even like to check in with all the latest from the region because of this madman Netanyahu.
The Semitic language, the ones that the Afro-Asian branch, they're thinking that it originated in Egypt.
What language?
The Semitic language that everybody talks about when comes to
which one?
To Israel.
Oh, Yiddish or Hebrew?
You have.
I think Hebrew. Yiddish is from Eastern Europe.
You have the Semitic language that was up around Turkey, which was the Hittites and all them.
Oh, you're talking Aramaic? That the language
Yeah,
of
and
Christ. That's
then-
Christ. What language he spoke?
No, I mean the Semitic language that was supposed to be the Jewish language was actually Afro-Asiatic Semitic.
Okay. Well, there's
And
a lot.
they're actually finding evidence that it's a blend of Egyptian and Semitic. You know what I mean? So it's pretty interesting. Whenever I've been getting really into that, finding a lot of stuff. Like especially they're finding old sites where you could see the blending of Egyptian belief systems with the Jewish beliefs. And
Sure.
it's like you got tons of paganism that's involved in that. It blows you away when you start finding it. You know, like Moses.
Yeah.
Moses going up on the mountain. Okay, he goes up on the mountain, and what does he see? He sees a burning bush. Okay, that's so freaking alchemy. You turn around and they talk about them walking in the desert, following a cloud in the daytime and fire at night. That's alchemy.
Well, it sounds like a UFO. Similar to how with Christ and the Wandering Star. Hello. Like, obviously they think they identify it as a star, but maybe they didn't know what it was, but they were under the impression they need to follow it. So
water into wine. I mean, you turn around and you listen to that when Jesus was supposed to turn water into wine, and then you look at the Catholics when they take the bread and drink the wine.
Yep.
That's all ancient alchemy right there.
Well, when you get down to it, too, you have to break the word Israel down into 3 words.
Isis, Ra,
and El.
Yeah.
The 3 gods.
That's right.
So there's your Trinity in 1 word.
That's right. Yeah. The show is going to end here in 2 minutes, release, the teams end of things. So you guys let listeners know, just brief roundtable, Sign Galactic, galacticfire.com. Anything more that you'd like to offer? We can hear from you as far as that shameless self-promotion or any of your what do you got on tap here? What can we expect?
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's just do t-shirts, and if anyone wants to put their t-shirt on my website and split the profits, that would be fantastic. So I can do that, galacticfire.com, TEC, not TIC. And there you go. Way to
do it. Yeah, that's right. Mark, Dragus Productions.
Well, I got 3 shows tomorrow, and I'm gearing up already. And I've got Censorship Sucks to start out the night at 6 o'clock Eastern.
We'd like to bring him on as a feature guest. Don't forget. Let's get that in the works, or get that penciled in. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get you in there. We'll probably get you in on Nancy's show, The Vixen's Vault. And then we'll also take in, after Censorship Sucks, that's a 2-hour show. I've got Paranormal Intelligence Agency with Jack Carey. And from there, we go into the Vixen's Vault to close the night. And we have tomorrow Phil Summers, paranormal investigator, coming in.
Good stuff. Dragus Productions, indeed. So once again, all of your contact information added to the archived end of things show description. What we post up on Rumble, archive on Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. Quickly from Roger Hansen over on Minds.com. Lars, you got all your bio information laid out there? Minds.com?
Yeah, don't worry about all that. You can find me on the internet. That's all you got to worry about.
There's only one Roger Hansen out there on the internet, is that right?
Yeah, pretty much. If you're not listening to Roger Hansen, then you're not cool, dude. You're not cool.
Do you know my dad actually raced Huskies up in Alaska with a guy? And it must have been, was it your dad, Roger Hansen Sr., back in the day?
Well, he got kicked out of the family. He got pushed up there because he liked to do things to those dogs.
Because Are you serious? So that was your father then? Really?
No, no.
Might have been Roger Hansen Sr.
It could have been. No, it could have been like a distant uncle.
And I think our feed's going to end here in 2 seconds. So happy sailing, everybody.
Later.
We will actually, well, we'll see. Teams is kind of weird that way. The clock doesn't always operate in the way that maybe they like it to. We've overshot the marker by 15 seconds already, but oh, here we go. That's you spoke too soon. So, but yeah, hopefully everyone enjoyed what we had to offer this go round. It was jam packed as things usually are, with lots of, I would argue, great quality information, freedom fueled truth bombs, and views and opinions from all sides, all perspectives. People, there's only one real prerequisite that we have here as far as being a part of the show is concerned. That's don't be a dick. You can bust each other's balls. That's fine. We've got no problem with that whatsoever. But just don't be a dick. So, how about this slideshow? Isn't, speaking of hard hitting freedom fueled truth bombs, Epstein's intelligence network. Yeah. Oh, wow. Did we just see a picture of Sean Penn? Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. That guy is, I don't know, man. Just not a fan. Not a fan at all. So, although as Spicoli in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, classic. I mean, who could argue with that? But that's Hollywood for you, Tinseltown. It's a great movie, as far as I'm circumcised. So we're taking a bit of a break here this week. No feature show to speak of, unless there's something super urgent that we need to cover, report on. Irish slaves. How about that, folks? That Irish slaves were the first to be, speaking of human trafficking and whatnot, before any blacks were bought or sold via the Americas, the Irish were being having their freedom, taken away from them and expected to live in that indentured form of the lifestyle, which I just hate. I can hardly even imagine how horrific, something like that would have been. Treated just not even really as humans, frankly, but barely anything more than an animal in some of the worst case scenarios. So, and I'm not sure how many people through across the Americas owned slaves per se. I don't. You had to be someone of means. It wasn't like every American had a slave or a stable of slaves that they could you know commandeer, oversee, have working out in the fields, bringing in the crops or whatever was expected of them. So peace deal. Yeah, let's hope that we see that, huh? Let's hope that ultimately that's where this all leads to. Although it's interesting, this wartime economy, Russia itself, pretty shaky ground. China, things not looking the greatest. And where have all the people gone in China? There's a lot of talk as to why is it that so many have seemingly just disappeared. Might it have something to do with how those crematoriums were said to be burning 24/7 around the clock for quite some time throughout the whole corona apocalypse? in China, they do have, what are they? Death vans that they drive around, and no Second Amendment rights. So good luck fighting back. Just terrible, to think of the abuses of state power, the total, tyranny, and what places like Canada we're looking at, the ramping up of authoritarian, totalitarian ways. Some people, I guess, trying to refer to it as communism. It's not communism. Certainly not in a sense that everybody's treated equal or of equal means. Not that way whatsoever. If it was pure communism, everyone would have equal social credits or digital credit or money. You wouldn't find such an imbalance or a disproportional distribution of resources, clearly. So whatever the case, what I do know is I'm going to spend a little time here kicking back and getting to work on a little more songwriting, music, whole list of songs, a lot of covers, trying to brush up on here so that when we return to Canada, we'll have something that we can lay on people. We're planning on actually dropping into places such as the local Legion and old folks' home or homes, depending on what we're able to line up. Any little gig that comes our way throughout the course of the 2-week visit, probably just jump at it, So, what would you do if you found yourself after, can you believe the way time flies? It's crazy. 18 missing years. Looking forward to it in a big way, and hope everyone is looking forward to the weekend. We're going to be taking, once again, a bit of a pass here, of course. So remember, pirate1radio@protonmail.com, or email address if you have PayPal support and love that you'd like to extend. Half of everything we do manage to generate, whether it's through the purchase of merchandise, the PayPal, the Patreon support, digital love, or what have you, just get creative and try to think outside the box, folks. Half of everything we do manage to generate goes directly back to the grassroots. And so, we are listener supported. We really do depend on even just passing, on the links, leaving comments, sharing, letting your friends, family, co-workers know, liking, subscribing, hitting notification buttons. Really important stuff as far as the online, synergy is concerned. We need to do all we can here to grow and expand. We've been pretty laid back and lax when it comes right down to it, in many ways, but very Taoist, I guess, in that sense. Wu Wei. The act of doing or accomplishing by not doing. So maybe somewhat the way King Charles here operates on a whole number of levels. Who's really to say? On behalf of Captain Long, John Sinclair, and all the rest of the crew down in Skullport Harbor, until we meet again via these high, often all too intrepid digital seas, I'm your host, as always, show's Chief Communications Officer, Jaffe Ryder, reminding you, keep your ear to the ground and eyes to the sky. Tally-ho!